welcome to the Past Play podcast. This is a reflection on every video game story ever. My name's Matthew.
And I'm Ben.
And Ben, would you kindly tell us what we're doing today?
It wasn't even 10 seconds before you did the joke. We're doing BioShock. The first BioShock. This game is fantastic. It's arguably one of the best games story-wise ever made. I guess it's a pioneer of sorts for first-person shooters. It's nothing revolutionary like, Halo or something. But, this is a game that you will appreciate more on a second playthrough as well, I think. But yeah, give us, what should we know about BioShock?
If you've never heard of BioShock, it's a first-person shooter / RPG /
Horror?
Horror, yeah, / survival horror / Metroid style, I guess, a bit, where you have to go different areas.
Yeah.
Game. It was developed by Irrational, which it was technically they were called 2K Boston just to publish this game, and then they went back to being called Irrational. And it was published by 2K, released 21st of August 2007.
2007?
Yeah,
okay.
So a long time ago at this point. Now, what I would say about this game is it's very much a game based on atmosphere.
Yeah,
It's all about, the world that you're in.
This is 1950s horror, the video game. It's fun. The whole aesthetic of this game is really fun. Everyone talks like, see, we're gonna... It's the 1950s, see? And it's, you see that in all the vending machines and stuff, like... Oh, welcome to the circus of value.
I love the circus of value. That's the best one.
It's also just quirky and weird, but really weird. Weird is how I would describe this game. It's weird.
There's a lot of strange stuff that they've sort of come up with on their own, which is good. Like, it's not really drawn from there is. Okay, I will go into it when I get to the history section, but there is it's drawn from some stuff, but a lot of the stuff that they've got is just made up, like all this thing with the splices, and it's,
Yeah, so, the basic premise is underwater city called Rapture. You end up there because you're playing Crashes. Oh, you gotta help this man because his family's in trouble. But there's a big bad man that looks like Walt Disney that runs the joint, so you gotta stop him. That's it.
Yeah, so he's the creator, Andrew Ryan. He created Rapture, and he sort of created it as he was sick of the American society.
Yeah.
And so he sort of went here where it's sort of like a business type thing where he wants complete free market. So again, I'll just take all my info from the history section and just throw it out now because why not? So there's a book called Atlas Shrugged, which you get the reference of Atlas, and that's written by a woman called Ayn Rand.
Oh, yeah.
Which also has a lot of the letters of Andrew Ryan in it.
Oh.
Which, I don't know if that's intentional. I assume it is. And the idea of that is, it's quite a cynical idea, which is that all the peasants, if you will, the lower people in society are just... The fact that we're helping them is just ruining it for all the good people, like the rich people.
Oh, okay.
So that's their sort of idea. So that's what the basis of Ryan's idea is, which is that... If you take only the rich, good people that are because the idea is if you're rich, you're the most talented because you've earned your money somehow. Taking all those people and just having them live in their own little place. And then, a lot of this is not spoilers, obviously, because this is all stuff that happened before the events of the game. Yeah. So before you arrive, that's sort of already completely broken down.
Yeah, this is a discussion of BioShock. They go into some of the backstory in one of the BioShock Infinite DLCs. We're not talking about that, though. None of that matters. It's just,
I haven't played that, so...
Oh, no!
I haven't even finished... I couldn't finish 2, and I refused to play Infinite until
2's good.
Finished 2.
2's the worst
I started to get into 2. Well...
2 is absolutely the worst.
The thing about 2 is that it wasn't developed by by them, by
Oh, I didn't know that.
Boston. It was developed by a split off, which is called 2K Marin, which is in California somewhere. I don't know. They're named after places.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, and so Ken Levine, who's the like big creative director head of the whole thing, he wasn't really involved in that at all in the second one.
Yeah.
So
it shows.
Yeah. So I mean, I played half of 2 and I just got bored. I think, or not bored, but I just got worn down. Yeah. This was like, when did I first play it? I played it like 2012, 13 or something like that.
Try and check, but like,
I think that was when I looked at my achievements. I first played it in 2012, 13. So I was like 16 maybe, and this is an MA game. And the first hour terrified me when I first played.
There's a part in this game where it's very akin to like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, this is the worst part of the game.
The weird part was, I remember, right? I remember, wasn't I like, I was at your house or something when you were playing it, and I remember you knew about this thing where you turn around. Yeah. So you walked up to it and you made someone else take the controller. You made someone else take the controller and turn around for you because you knew it was coming.
I hated it. No, I hate horror.
Yeah. That was, So but then I played, I think I found that bit this time, and it wasn't that scary.
I know, I was doing revision. No, not as nearly, not nearly as bad.
that was crazy. When I played it in, whatever, 2013, whatever it was.
When would I have played it?
So I mean, the gameplay it's different, but it's like not groundbreaking is what I'd say.
It's I don't know how I'd describe. I mean, it's not a fan. It's fine.
Yeah, like it's just
fine.
So for me, like first person gameplay is like it's where it is. I don't think there's not much more that can be done with first person. Like
you can't reinvent the wheel at this stage.
Yeah, I think like if you're in a third person camera, there's a lot more stuff you can do in terms of like crazy moves that you can do. But when you're in first person, you have a limited ability to turn around and stuff like that. So particularly when you're on a controller. So it sort of limits how crazy it can be. Now they try and do some stuff where like there's a bit different. So you can't aim because you have like your plasmids on your left hand.
Yeah.
So that sort of like is a different effect, I guess. But it does feel weird spraying a machine gun perfectly accurately without aiming.
I mean, you can't aim in Halo either.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was weird in Halo again as well. But yeah, so they've got this sort of combo idea. There is a lot of like contextual stuff in the gameplay, like using water to electrocute people and all this sort of stuff.
That's good.
And it is very much an RPG in the way you build both your plasmids and your tonics, which are like the passive buffs.
It's not just a basic, here's your gun, here's your ability. Well, I guess Skyrim is kind of like that.
Yeah, Skyrim has a bit of like as well of switching your shouts and things.
Arguably.
It's similar to this.
And I'm not in any way saying that that Skyrim does combat and stuff worse than this game. That's absolutely wrong.
But true. Skyrim's combat sucks.
Skyrim is a good game.
Skyrim's a great game.
It's also a game
really bad.
Yes,
it's bad.
It's very basic. It's just like, mash the button, you killed him. Mash the other button, you zapped him.
Yeah.
This one, at least you can play around with how you use your abilities. You can, like you said, there's water on the ground. Zap the water. Electrocute enemies. There's oil on the ground. Zap the oil.
With fire.
Burn the oil.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I
think you can freeze.
There's a freeze blast thing. There's one where you can throw bees at people.
What more could you want?
It's so so it's not really an RPG in the way that you would think of an RPG, which is often like wide open worlds where you can go and do lots of side quests. There are no side quests. There's no like. There's some side areas where you can pick up gear, but there's no like different missions or anything.
There's no. I'd define an RPG arguably as a big collectathon, where you are picking up everything you see because, I might need this, might need it.
Yeah, and it's an RPG in that sense because you're forever collecting ammo and different tonics and all this stuff. But the idea of the RPG main element is being able to kit out yourself the way you want. So
there's no progression in terms of collecting in this game. Like, you're not going to find a better piece of armor.
No.
Or something like that.
But you might find better buffs on your tonics.
Yeah.
So you can... Yeah, so you have a limited number of slots for your tonics, and so putting in what passives you want is sort of a good key. So you can go for like a stealth playstyle where you get like crazy melee damage from behind and all this stuff, or you could go for a sort of hacker playstyle where you get all because there is a lot of hacking in this game. Oh my god, there's so much hacking. There's so much of that. I have never seen so many pipe puzzles in my life.
I mean, I get it, because Underwater City, but, like, why?
Yeah. And so they have to make it, like... They do a good job with the difficulty of those, is what I'll say, because by about the halfway point, if you haven't put any investment into making hacking easier, some of them are literally impossible. Yeah. Like, they'll just form a wall of unblockable, unpassable tiles, and you can't do it. So, if you want to be a hacker, you need to put some effort into it. You can't just... be really good at pipe puzzles.
Yeah. You can't really be a jack of all trades.
No.
Yeah.
But you got to choose, which abilities will fit your playstyle, which is, I guess, what the RPG element is. In summary, it's very much an atmosphere game, as I said right at the start. It's about the world. There's a lot of lore that you don't have to find, like a lot of audio logs.
Yes, you could just sprint through this game, plot point, done. And it's still a fine game like that, but it's, absolutely picking up the audio logs and stuff enrich the world, give you a proper understanding of what's happening, how things fell apart, yada, yada, yada.
And it does give you different perspectives on the main plot as well. If you do find those audio logs, and there's certain areas that you can go to that sort of are very related to what ends up happening.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if you've probably heard of the twist, that there is a twist.
Yes.
BioShock has one of the most famous twists.
I'd be hard pressed to think of, like, in a video game, a bigger twist.
Yeah. I mean, not off the top of my head.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those ones. Like, I think I saw something. I saw something a couple of months ago about, like, that someone had written something like, looking back at the BioShock twist. Like, that's the type of level that it's at. That, like, we're sitting here like 13 years after it came out, and people are writing stuff going, "Let's remember this BioShock twist. It was really important."
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the twist in the spoilers, obviously, because that is the biggest spoiler in the game.
That is the point of the game. Like, you get to that and you're like, okay, that's it. Everything makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that there. So, do you have anything more to say?
I think we've done the initial fine. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get more into it as we go into the history section, which is up next, which we didn't talk about. If you haven't listened to this before, this is the sections that there are. There's the starting section where we just talk about it. Then there's going to be the history section, and then there's going to be the spoiler section. So we will head off, and then we'll come back with history. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Past Play Gaming podcast. If you're enjoying the podcast, please think about supporting us in some of these ways. The easiest way you can support us is with likes, with sharing it with your friends, subscribing, leaving a review, any of the things that you can do on the podcast app that you choose to use. We would appreciate any of those. They help with the algorithms. They help us finding more people, getting this out to more listeners, and it's a great way for us to grow and to keep us being able to make the content that we hope you enjoy. Second thing is you can follow us on social media at facebook.com/pastplaygaming, on Twitter and Instagram at pastplaygaming, and we also have a YouTube channel which you can search for Past Play Gaming, or the link will be in the description for that channel. We have all the podcast episodes up there. If you prefer to listen to podcasts on YouTube, you can do that. And we also have some other exclusive videos up there, short form content, thing like that you're not going to find on the podcast feed. So check that out. And finally, our Patreon, that's patreon.com/passplaygaming. Over there, for as little as $1 a month, you can vote on what games you want to see us do in the future. For $5 a month, you can get these podcast episodes 1 week before everyone else, 1 week early, and it'll be ad-free, so you won't have to hear this ad again. And you can also, for the $5 tier, you get to shortlist those games that are going to go into that vote for the $1 backers. So, yeah, those are the ways you can support us. Anything you can do, we would appreciate. And with that, I'll let you get back to the show.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me. My lover stands on golden sands and watches the ships that go sailing.
Back to the Fast Play podcast. We are talking about BioShock today, and it's time for the history section where we look back at sort of the development cycle, some of the decisions that were made, and all that sort of
how it came about.
Yeah, all that jazz. So, as I said at the beginning, the game was developed by Irrational Games, which was called Irrational Games when it was first formed. Then it got bought by 2K. It was called 2K Boston just to release this game. Then they decided to go back to being called Irrational again. Well, they were still owned by 2K.
Name recognition.
Yeah, so they were still owned by 2K, and then they just decided to do that.
Yeah.
So it was actually developed by 2K Boston with help from 2K Australia. Australia Pride.
Yeah.
So, and they were like a split off, and they were also Irrational employees, but they got split off, and they did help on the second one. They did help 2K Marin on BioShock 2. And they also helped on Infinite. They also helped on the Bureau XCOM Declassified, which I think was
I've heard of it.
Was it a bad XCOM?
It wasn't. That might have been the bad one. Yeah, I know there was an XCOM that people just.
It's like
no.
I looked at the cover and I'd never seen it before. It's like
is that the one with all the people?
It's like a dude in profile with like newspaper clippings around him or sort of thing.
I'm thinking of a different one then.
And it's like because it's actually called the Bureau is like the big name, and then XCOM's like at the bottom.
Oh.
So yeah, but 2K Australia most famously did Borderlands the pre-sequel on their own. That's the only game that they've actually developed on their own. Pre-sequel is underrated, I think. It's not part of the main series, but it's still got all those sort of
still haven't
elements.
Played 3. You should probably play 3.
No, you know what? If you had told me when I played Borderlands 2, well, this is way off topic. If you had told me when I played Borderlands 2 that Borderlands 3 would have been out for like a year and I wouldn't have played any of it, I would have slapped you in the face.
I 100% of Borderlands 2, every achievement, and then 3 came out. And I was like, I'll get there eventually.
It's like they waited so long that I'm okay with waiting now. I can't commit to it. It's too much.
Anyway, BioShock.
It's got nothing to do with this. But, yes. So, they developed that. So 2K Boston / Irrational, they only came back in full BioShock Infinite, which was like 2013, I think. I didn't actually write it down.
14?
Yeah, maybe 14. And then Ken Levine was like, yeah, okay, we're shutting up shop. That's it. Irrational's done. So they closed. And then now they've sort of... He's still got a team that exists. And they're now called something... They did nothing for 3 years. Then in 2017, they decided they're going to be called Ghost Story Games, which has not released anything yet.
No.
But they're working on something that sounds interesting, but I don't know how it's going to happen in practice, which is... So he said this thing called Narrative Legos, which is... it's sort of like it's inspired by the Shadow of Mordor thing, where the Nemesis system, where you have stories that are made without actually having to put in more dialogue and stuff. Stories that happen procedurally.
Okay.
So he's looking for he's trying to make a game that has not infinite, but almost infinite replayability in terms of story elements somehow without actually having to do more work, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what he's trying to do.
God, that'd be an undertaking and a half.
Yeah, well, they've been doing it for 6 years, and
Well,
they haven't even announced anything yet. So, you know, it is taking a while. So back in the past, Irrational. Back in the past, you know, before all that stuff that I just said,
Yeah.
Irrational released a game called System Shock and System Shock 2.
Yeah.
System Shock 2 is the one I've written down because it was the most recent game before BioShock.
Yeah.
And all I've written about it is that it was I've written certical success, but critical success, but a commercial failure, so it didn't really make that much money, but people liked it. I don't know what it was about. Do you know what it was about?
No, I used to. Like, I've read up on it back when I first played BioShock. I was like, oh, I wonder how this game came about. I looked up System Shock, don't remember anything. Never played it. I think it's horror-y. I think it's kind of cyberpunk-y. That's not a plug or anything at all. I just think it's...
Yeah. Yes, so that came out in... I want to say 99, but it could be... I've also got 96 in my head for some reason. But I think...
94.
94? System Shock 2?
Oh, System Shock 1 was 94.
Okay, I think...
Yeah, System Shock 2, 99.
99, yeah, okay. So then again, there's big gaps here because it took them a lot of time to get their ideas together for this game. And I mean a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So in 2002, they had an idea of a game system, which is that you have... that you have three groups. You've got protectors, you've got harvesters, and you've got drones carrying something of value. So that becomes the big daddies, the splicers, and the little sisters, because they're the people that carry something. The harvesters want.
What was the second category?
The harvesters.
No. Protectors.
Protectors, harvesters, and drones.
Okay.
So there's little sisters of the drones because they're weak and because they carry something useful. And
Don't
that's
they
what the
harvest?
harvesters want. They do harvest. I know.
Yeah.
I actually wrote it down wrong from memory when I wrote it. But that's the idea, is that the splicers are looking to get the thing.
Yeah, okay.
And the little sisters have it.
Yeah.
So in 2002, that was what they had. They didn't know what these things were called. They had the three groups. And so there was a time where the game was set on a Nazi island. It was just an island with a bunch of Nazis on it.
That's like Wolfenstein Light.
Yeah. There was a time where it was in space. Because why not? Because that's a good place to put stuff. And so they didn't really have any more... They didn't have anything fully formed. And so a publisher called Codemasters... Have you heard of Codemasters?
Yeah,
They only publish racing games right now.
I was going to say, they did V8 Supercars, because...
Yeah. So they were obviously, I assume, publishing other stuff at this point, because they passed on it, apparently. But yeah, right now they only do racing games. So they've done like the F1s, the most recent Drive game, I think.
Oh, okay.
All this sort of stuff. I think one of the Grid 2 or something, like all the driving games.
Yeah.
But that's all they do now. But apparently they were doing other stuff and they passed. EA passed. Atari passed. 2K bought it just on the system. They didn't, obviously there was still nothing else there.
Yeah.
So they managed to buy it off that. And that sort of really ramped up production because they had obviously lots more money now.
Yeah.
They got to have more people. I think they tripled their staff from 30 to 90, I want to say. And so they still didn't know what it was going to be. And then Ken Levine, who, as we said, is the mastermind of the whole situation, he went to Rockefeller Plaza, which is in Manhattan, which I'm sure other people know more than I know. But that's where it is. And there's a statue of Atlas holding up the globe. And, obviously Atlas plays a big part in this game, just as the name. But he sort of, just the way that statue was made was what he sort of inspired the aesthetic of what became Rapture. And interestingly, I saw that that statue was being built during the Depression, and Rockefeller... Is it Rockefeller? I think he was the one that... He's like a business guy.
He was big, yeah.
He was a business guy.
Yeah.
And they whoever was building it, they stopped funding it, and he funded it himself, which is very much a parallel to
Yeah.
the plight of Andrew
Yeah.
Ryan. And so, as I said in the previous section, also there's also the book Atlas Shrugged, which, yeah, if you get the idea, Atlas is carrying the world, and he's just like,
Poor people suck.
drops the
Yeah.
world, moves on with his life. Like,
Yeah.
that's sort of the idea. Atlas is being... Because... I assume you know, and other people know about the story of Atlas, which is he's
Yeah.
like a Greek myth of he was like tricked, I believe, into holding up the world.
Was it Hercules? Was that a Hercules thing?
I think Hercules was carrying it for a while. Atlas tricked him into
Atlas tricked him.
Atlas tricked Hercules
like, hey, you want
into
to do this
taking
for a
it,
second?
and then
he was like, all right, man.
yeah, Hercules tricked him back. So Atlas's job is to hold up the world, and so the idea of Atlas Shrugged is Atlas just goes, drops the world because it's all about selfishness. So they said that the money really was showed in the graphics, which is usually where the money does show a lot of the time. Like, you can come up with a good game system, but getting all that art stuff done is the big problem. So the biggest issue they had was working out what to do with the drones, which were going to be the little sisters, but they weren't to begin with. So they had the idea for the big daddies, and the harvesters are very they're just people, but crazy people.
Really messed
Splicers.
up. Constantly wearing like party masks.
Yeah. Masquerading masks. So the first idea they had for Little Sisters they were just bugs. And it's like, why is a suit man detecting a bug first?
Sure.
And then they're like, but the thing is, they wanted you to care about the drones.
Yeah.
You didn't want to just, squash them like a
It's
bug.
a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were trying to get emotional support for these things. Oh, sorry. They were trying to get emotional support for these things. So their next idea, get this, are you ready for this? Their next idea was dogs in wheelchairs.
You know what? I'd have sympathy for it, I'll tell you that.
I guess. I just imagine the game as it is now, but just instead of Little Sisters, you've just got dogs rolling around in wheelchairs.
I don't hate the idea. I don't know how it would ever work, but I don't hate the idea.
So that was their next idea, and they weren't happy with it.
I wonder what happened to the bloke that came up with the idea.
Yeah, it was the best they had at the time, so I'm sure they were okay with him. But someone pitched the little girl, and they sort of were like, oh man, that's a bit, that's a bit controversial. But they all immediately also went like, yeah, that's the right answer.
And they fired the bloke that had the dog wheelchair idea.
They're like, come on, man, dogs, are you kidding? Like, this is way
Get
better.
out of here.
We've leveled up. So, yeah, that was and then that sort of all led into the basic morality choice in the game, which we'll get into in the spoiler section. There are weaknesses to the morality choice, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of it's not as much of a choice as you wanted, and there'll be another quote that I've got here about that. And then, so they made all this, and then they play tested it in 2007 when it came out. Someone they did a play testing group, and the dude that was in charge of the focus group went, yeah, you're pretty effed here, mate. This is everyone hates this. They all hate it. They think it's crap. And they're like, this is a bad sign. And all that, the main thing that they did, so that they said all the people were like, the questions were like, why are we going in this thing? Why are we going down here? Why is all this happening? And so the main change that they made was they added the first cutscene in the plane.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the main thing. So you said they did other stuff, but that was the big one that just established what's happening and why you're where you are.
Even still, you're like, a lot of it is like, oh, what? What's that? Who? Why?
Yeah, so the idea is, it does sort of fix it, because it's like if you just spawn next to a lighthouse and go down a thing, you're like, what am I doing? At least if your plane crashes...
That'd be really indie game.
Yeah.
That's an indie game.
At least when your plane crashes and you're in the ocean and there's only one building near you, you're like, well, okay, I guess I'll go to this building. And then, there's no one there, so you got to go, well, I guess I'll get in this thing and go down. So that was... so the thing is that it is a very non-traditional game. And probably whatever they got to play in a playtest doesn't give you the idea of the whole thing.
No, yeah, absolutely. You couldn't take a snippet of this game, really, and be like, oh, yeah.
It really, especially with the twist that we'll get into. It all makes sense in the end.
Yes.
So it's sort of... There are hanging questions throughout most of the game until you put it all together.
Yeah.
And so you really need to take it as a whole. So that could be one reason why. But when we get to the reviews, like, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
They were fine. They were fine with what they had. So because what they showed in that playtest was basically the game, but they just added that cutscene.
Yeah, I
Changed a
mean,
couple of
as
minor
an
plot details.
actual game, it's nothing special. It's
No.
just like, again, like I've said with probably a couple of the games we've reviewed, mainly Shadow of the Colossus, it's an example of games as an art form.
Yeah, you're going to hear that a lot on this. You know, those are the games that we're doing a lot of the time.
It's absolutely, like, it's not it's nothing revolutionary in terms of how you play the game or anything. But as a story, as like an aesthetic sort of thing, it's fantastic.
And that's where the potential is, I think, right now. Like, gameplay has a ceiling, and we're getting very close to it.
Yeah.
But story is always infinite.
There's
always
a lot of
possibility.
Things that have already, like, there's not much more you can do in terms of a gameplay sense to make, like, you've got your basic shooting, jumping, walking, running. You can't do much more with that. It all comes down to what's this game about, what's happening, what's it look like, blah, blah, blah.
And as I said, the third person gives you more freedom for crazy gameplay moves because the way that the camera's independent.
You can't do a backflip in first person or something.
Exactly. But what first person gives you... There are a few things that first person gives you, but the one that matters for this game is immersion.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're in first person... Like, you're
if
there,
this game
you're
was
the
third
character.
person.
It'll be weird in third person, especially because of the sort of, like, you don't know anything really much about yourself in this game, and so...
I think you speak in the very beginning cutscene. You're like, oh...
Yeah.
Something, something, and then your plane crashes, and then I don't think you say another word.
No,
you make grunts and stuff?
Because there's a voice actor credited, and I was like, when do you talk? When do you talk in this? So, because your character's name is, like, Jack. It's the most generic name in history.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, the idea is, that you're pretty much a blank slate most of the way. Mm-hmm. And then you get some character development near the end.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's the whole silent protagonist thing of put yourself in their shoes. Like Master Chief. For, in the first two, like, well, I mean, He became an actual protagonist.
We had that conversation.
Yeah. But, when you make your character silent, you can be that character, essentially. So, yeah.
Alright, voice acting. So the voice acting in this is like, almost all the people are completely, like, just off-the-grid random people that, like, have no... I don't want to insult these people, but they have very little work, like credits for things. No main things. So the guy who does Frank Fontaine's voice, he's basically done nothing. His name's Greg Baldwin.
I feel bad.
I feel bad saying that.
I don't want to do this.
Look, there are some people that have done some stuff, but they've all done stuff, but like nothing that really jumped out to me. No main roles. That's what I'm looking for to mention here. So, Carl Hanover did Atlas, and he did Atlas in all the games, and he also did like some Fontaine in other games and stuff. So, like Baldwin was like around for a bit. I don't know. It was a weird. They switched roles a bit. Armin Shimmerman, who did Andrew Ryan, he actually was doing stuff. He was a main character. I don't know anything about Deep Space Nine, Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
But he played someone called Quark, or whatever.
The guy from Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, Captain Quark from Ratchet and Clank, exactly. He was also in Buffy for a bit, and he played Dr. Nefarious in Ratchet and Clank 3.
Wow.
and in the new movie.
Go.
So, yeah, there you go. I'll list all the other people that had like nothing because I'll get to the good people at the end. It's sad. Okay. So I actually do feel bad saying this one because she's sort of like, I don't know, she's been around a long time. Someone called like Anne Bobby played Tenenbaum. She's a veteran actress, but she hasn't done any big credits that I could find.
Yeah, okay.
Not anything that jumped out to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be insulted. I'm sorry. T. Ryder Smith played Sandra Cohen. Again, nothing that jumped out to me there. Juliet Landau, I've forgotten. Oh, she plays the Little Sisters.
Okay.
She actually did have a thing.
Yeah.
She had like a 20 episode run or something on Buffy as well.
Okay.
Someone called Drusilla, which I'm assuming is a vampire.
Never seen Buffy.
She's a vampire slayer. Drusilla, I'm going to guess vampire.
Yeah.
Although she was in it for 17 and she wasn't slain, so she could have been slain at the
Buffy
end.
just slacking.
She was just lazy. But the key one is who did the Circus of Value? And the answer was Ken Levine. I think he did another one of the machines as well. But it was just like right at the bottom. There's like the credits for like who did the Circus of Value. The credit for the Bandito machine. So like, oh yeah, Bandito.
That's probably racist.
That's what it sounds like. That was good.
It was good.
That's all it is. Like the vending machines in this game are great. I love them so much.
Welcome to the Circus of Value.
Tell your friends about the Circus of Value. It's great. And then music. So there's some original music. There's like I think 12 songs, and the composer was Gary Shyman. But there's also 30-ish licensed songs from the 30s and 50s.
Yeah.
So I've written some that jumped out to me, and by that, not even songs, but people. Bing Crosby has a couple on there. Perry Como, Billie Holiday. The big one that we're going to talk about for me was Tchaikovsky's Waltz of the Flowers, which is Cohen's one. And Danny Boy, the pipes, etc. There was lots of covers of that, but Mario Lanza was the one they used. And Jesus Loves Me, which is not actually in the game as a song,
that's right.
but all the splicers wander around singing it.
Yeah.
So those were the ones that
loves
jumped.
me, this I know, because the Bible tells me so.
Exactly. That's how it goes, but it's way more creepy when they do it.
Yeah.
Jesus loves me, I know.
This all sounds so... God, this game's weird, dude. It's such a weird game.
Like, I think I remember the first time I heard someone singing that in the first playthrough, I was like, this dude's a boss. Like, he's like a cool guy. Like,
this dude's religious.
This dude's super creepy. Like, but everyone just sings it. Like, it's just a thing. All the splicers, they all say weird stuff all the time. Like, it's not exactly what they say doesn't jump out to me, but like, they're just always saying weird stuff. Oh, come help with the opportunity.
Yeah,
like, isn't there one that's like has a pram or something?
I think so.
In the pram there's just a gun.
Yeah, that's like the very first splice you see.
Yeah,
you get out the thing, and then she's like, my baby, or something, like something stupid. And it's a gun.
Yeah, it's just like, a gun in the pram. Yeah, it's like what? Yeah. So the idea, which this is not really part of the history section at all, but the idea is like that they. Well, we didn't really talk about the whole Adam situation.
No.
So what happened? What broke on this? What ended up breaking this sort of? Utopia?
Should we save this for like spoilers bit?
I guess this isn't really spoilers. This is what happened before the game.
History though.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not really history. All right, we'll leave it for the other section. It'll be right at the start. So if you really want to know about this, it's not really a spoiler. You can jump into the start of the spoiler section.
Yeah.
You can jump into the start of the spoiler section. We won't spoil stuff for that first part. But that's about all I've got for history. Oh no, I've got a second set of dot points here that I write at the bottom of my thing that I put a bunch of page breaks for no reason. So these are mostly like random points and quotes from, because there was like 3 different interviews with Ken Levine that I read in this, and they're all just the references of Wikipedia. But so if you want to. This is a new thing that I'm going to do from this episode because I'm remembering to do it. If you want the links for where I got all this info from, that'll be in the description.
All the sources.
So, all the sources of where I got all this history stuff from. So if you want to read the full interviews, which they are quite interesting, and I didn't put them all in here, they'll all be there in the description if you want to see more about the game. So there was also, after the Nazi Island, there was also an idea where you were the player was a cult deprogrammer. So the idea is like they're like a person that you grab someone from a cult and you try and bring them back, whatever, like
reverse brainwashing.
Yeah, you basically reverse brainwash them.
Yeah.
But the example that he gave, which he said wasn't going to be what the game was about, he said you're going to be like hired by a senator in the game, but the example he gave was like someone trying to convert their daughter who was a lesbian to convert them back.
Okay.
Which is obviously not, but he said that's not what you actually were going to do.
Yeah.
Actually, mentioning the sources, one of the interviews was actually done by Chris Remo, who you will remember was one of the game director, art director type deals on Firewatch.
Oh,
we talked about him in the Firewatch episode. So he worked for a place called Shack News, which is where yeah. So where we did the interview. So I just thought that was interesting. Bit of podcast cinematic universe there for us. Yeah. He's come back. So one of the things that he talked about a lot was the idea of the balance between exposition, which is obviously stuff that's told to you all the time, and contextual lore, which is in this case the audio logs and things that are things you can find out that you don't have to, that are around, and not forcing you to do stuff or forcing you to hear stuff. So there is a lot of that in this game. Like there's barely any cutscenes. There's like two.
No. Yeah.
The one at the start and the one at the twist.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's sort of the...
I mean, they talk about show don't tell, but like this game tells you everything.
It does, yeah.
It really does, but well, yeah, we'll get into that.
But yeah, the fact that it's sort of optional logs and stuff sort of is, I think it's different to them just... If they just played every audio log over the course of the story eventually, like it seems it's too much.
Yeah.
So they give you that choice to find stuff when you want. And it's like, a lot for me, I like to when I pick up logs like that, I sometimes like to just sort of...
Just
stand. And listen and
because otherwise then like the proper dialogue will cut in.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want like interesting stuff to be happening while you're in a gunfight, and all this stuff. I gotta save that for the end. Okay. I gotta save that for the spoiler part. Okay. He also said there was a lot of inspiration from Half-Life. Now I haven't played Half-Life. I know Half-Life's great.
I can see that. I can get it.
But I think some of that's also related to the twist, so I don't want to talk too much about it. Okay. He says cutscenes are a coward's way out. He's like, anyone can write, 20 minutes of a cutscene, but it's that's what he was talking as well about the exposition. He's saying anyone can write a 20-minute cutscene, but it's different. I guess that is... Like, I'm not offended by cutscenes, but it is very much leaning on the movie side and not taking advantage of what games bring.
I would prefer to be there and present for this. Like,
it's not the unique part of games. It's very much leaning on other mediums.
Yeah.
And I guess this is the little sister choice. Can I talk about that?
I'd save it.
That's okay. We'll save that for the end as well.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for history section.
Okay.
So we're going to go into the full game after this short break. As I said, if you want to hear about that thing what was that thing we were talking about?
The Atom stuff.
Oh, the Atom. Yeah. No, just then. Yeah. No, what was the thing I said before that wasn't going to be a spoiler? Oh, that I was talking about.
Couldn't tell you.
Oh,
couldn't tell you.
I don't know. Oh, the whole... Yeah, that was the whole thing. All the Atom stuff and that thing I just said. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you want to hear about that, the very start of the spoiler section will be not spoilers. It'll be about that. Mm-hmm. So, goodbye.
A man has a choice. I chose the impossible. I built a city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the great will not be constrained by the small, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality. I chose to build rapture. But my city was betrayed by the weak. So I ask you, my friend, if your life were the prize, would you kill the innocent? Would you sacrifice your humanity? We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us.
Hello and welcome back to the Past Play podcast. This is the spoiler section for BioShock.
Now, well, first of all, we got to talk about the Adam thing.
The non-spoiler part
So this
is this part.
We'll
So
get into
just-
the proper spoilers.
Yeah, if you were teased by us, talking about Adam before, we're going to talk about it now.
Here it comes.
Yeah, it's not that crazy, but yeah, okay. So Ryan created this society called Rapture under the sea. He got all the rich people to come out over, and there were a lot of problems. The first problem was that in every society, there's an audio log in one of the bathrooms, like someone starts to clean the toilets. Even though this is all the rich, cool people,
someone's got to do the
someone's
hard
got
work.
to do the hard jobs.
Yeah.
So there's still poor people in these rich people.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem. Second problem was Fontaine, who sort of he's like a business mogul type deal, and he gets a bit out of hand, and then they end up like having a civil war. And I think Ryan tries to shut him down, which is the antithesis of his free market philosophy.
Right, something. Fontaine. Okay, so it's basically Andrew Ryan versus Fontaine. Fontaine eventually dies.
Yeah.
So.
And then as the game starts, there's sort of a new movement between Ryan and Atlas, who's leading the.
So Atlas is the new. What's the word you use? Revolution. Yeah. But
his is different to Fontaine's. Fontaine's was ruthless businessman. Atlas is power for the people, rise up the peasants, etc. Yeah. But the biggest problem in the whole thing was Adam.
Plasmids changed everything. They destroyed our bodies, our minds. We couldn't handle it. Best friends butchering one another. Babies strangled in cribs. The whole city went to hell.
So this is sort of very, very loosely based on some real-ish science that was happening in about 2007.
Okay, yeah.
But this thing with sea slugs the Adam came from sea slugs or something, and then it gives you superpowers. And so these dudes have been injecting themselves with
drugs.
it.
Yeah.
But it gives you powers, but it also just messes up your head. So they're all gone insane and just doing crazy
You inject
stuff.
the drugs, you get superpowers. That's it.
And that's what you spend most of the game doing, injecting drugs in yourself and getting better, cooler drugs to
this
do
game
cooler stuff.
is very pro-drug. Good job, BioShock.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's pro-drug when you look at the impacts.
Look, you're getting cool powers.
But Ryan doesn't partake in Adam, as far as I know.
No, I don't think so.
But, so that was what really broke it, because it just breaks people's brains eventually.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's where we are now.
That's a bit,
So this is now full spoiler time.
Full
We're going to go from the whole thing. So
that's about it. Adam is
was the Adam
drugs that
summary.
gives you superpowers. Done.
Yeah.
Okay. Spoilers.
Spoiler time. So go away if you don't want to be. if you don't want to know about it, go away. Okay, so as we said, you start on a plane, and I remember in one of the interviews, he sort of, it didn't really jump out to me, but it does make sense. Is that he very easily places you in the time in this scene because one, you're in a plane and it looks pretty modern, so it's
Smoking on a plane.
it's you're definitely in a plane, but you're smoking, so it's planes exist, but it's not so late that smoking is still allowed on planes. So it's actually set right on 1960.
Yep.
The year 1960. So
because I think the whole revolution thing happened late 1958 or something.
yeah, okay.
Because everyone's still in New Year's Eve garb.
Yes,
that's the whole point.
So the takeover of, I can't remember if it was Fontaine's attempt or Atlas's attempt, but whenever it actually broke, yeah. Fontaine's attack on Ryan happened on New Year's Eve. There's a New Year's Eve party set in one of the spots early on. Yes, but it's set in 1960, and so there's you're reading a letter from your parents.
They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
and your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then the sort of, it just all goes to black, and then you wake up and the plane's screwing everywhere. They didn't have to animate it breaking apart. Thumbs up.
Easy.
And you sort of are forced to swim over towards this lighthouse. There's only one way to go.
Yeah.
So you go in there, there's like, it's just, I don't know why, there's a lighthouse out in the middle of nowhere. Like, isn't the point of lighthouses to keep people away from the rocks? But, you know.
That's a good point.
Oh,
well, I don't know.
It's not on the coast at all, but, you know, this is where he's built his secret society. Yeah, you head into a bathysphere, which is, like, it is a thing, but, like, it's
just a submarine thing.
It's just a orb.
Yeah.
It's just a round thing that travels through the water.
It's just a water elevator.
And you get the, like, intro video, like that you would get if you'd come into Rapture as a proper person.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose Rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, Rapture can become your city as well.
So, you know, you sort of come over the horizon, and it's like really, and it's timed perfectly where it's like, welcome to Rapture, exactly as you come in. And it looks really good. Like, it looks...
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a, you know, cool place.
Oh, yeah, this place.
You're like, man, this is
fantastic.
I've lucked out here on this plane crash. And then you stop, and the first thing you see is a dude getting murdered by another guy, like by a chick, I think.
Because I think, Atlas gets you on the comms, and he's like, oh, hey, other dude, go check this out, see what's happening.
Just one more minute. Spear's coming up now. Johnny, security's banging off all over. Get a move on.
No trespass. Just don't hurt me. Just let me go. You keep my gun.
Is it someone new?
Would you kindly pick up that shortwave radio?
I don't know how you survived that plane crash, but I've never been one to question Providence. I'm Atlas, and I aim to keep you alive. Now keep on moving. We're gonna have to get you to higher ground.
Yeah, so there's a murder in front of you, and then they're trying to get in, the one that killed, they're trying to get in to get you, and and then Atlas, like, does something with security, I think, to get her to run away.
Yeah.
And then, he tells you to pick up the radio. He's like, hey, man. He says something like, you know, I'm going to get you out of here. We're best buddies.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I just got here. I don't know if I want to leave yet.
This place seems cool.
Yeah, I mean, that murder was pretty good. So this, as is the case with a lot of horror or pseudo-horror, in this case, games, the first part is the most scary.
Yeah, you got it's make or break.
You start with no weapons, and so you're just wandering. And of course, everyone's super creepy. Everyone's scary. Like I was like, when the first time I played it, I was permanently in crouch. I was permanently turning around. I was checking my corners because these people are freaky. And like, there's two types of horror. Like there's like the crazy person that just sprints at you, and then there's like the
slow burns.
There's the atmospheric sort of like where you just hear creepy sounds, or they're just sort of wandering around really weird like, and then it's sort of when you get spotted it also switches, but I think the creepy horror is more like affects you more or affects me more.
The horror that's ever present is the best horror, as opposed to again jump scare horror is the cheapest form of horror. It's so anyone can do that. Yeah. Like, but this horror where the whole atmosphere is scary, you know, you are constantly on edge, that's the best. I hate horror, but it's the best sort.
Yeah, you know, on that, this is a bit of a sidebar, but I was actually playing yesterday a game called Superliminal, which just came out. It's a puzzler.
Is that the one where
it's like you're in a dream the whole time? And objects, it's perspective, perspective. Okay. But there's one level in that is horror, technically. And there's literally I mean, you don't even see another person in that game, but there's no payoff, but they really build a sense of horror. Like you see, okay, spoilers for this game, by the way. For this part of this game, for this level.
Superliminal spoilers.
Superliminal just came out a reason, well, on Xbox anyway.
Yeah, I think it's been on PC.
Yeah, it's been on PC. Yeah. So, it's like you come into this area and the lights flickering, they're going out, and there's like blood trails on the floor, there's bloody handprints on the doors. You go to look in a door that's got a handprint on it and it slams in your face. So it's really freaky, but at the end, this is the spoiler right now, so skip 10 seconds. It turns out that it's just red paint and they're like half painted a room.
What?
So, but it works, right? Because there's no actual horror, but you feel like there is the whole time.
Okay, no, I can get it.
So that's the type of horror that works to me. Like I was like freaked out during that. Yeah. Even though there's no, and I didn't expect there to be anything at the end. Like I thought it's possible, but I didn't expect it because you know it's one of those games where you don't see any other people. You're just doing puzzles. Yeah. But it was quite genius. So that's the sort of horror that works, and I think that's the sort of horror that definitely pervades the first few hours of this. Maybe not in. Again, it suffers from the same problem that all horror games do, which is once you get crazy abilities and start murdering people left and right,
it's not as scary when nothing's a threat.
Yeah. I mean, Big Daddies, they're still scary all the time. Like, especially if you accidentally hit one.
Because they don't aggro on you.
They don't attack you unless you attack them. Yeah. But if you accidentally aggro one, you're in, like, it's terrifying. So, your first bit's very tense. You sort of, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but you get a wrench in some way.
And then he's like, oh, you got to kill her.
He teaches you to hit people, because, I mean, basic motor function.
Have you ever killed someone you're about to?
Atlas is Irish. Yeah. Just throwing that out there. Because you weren't aware of that. Atlas is Irish. I believe for a while he was Australian. Or, no.
There is an Australian character.
For a while he was Southern. I definitely heard that. And no one wanted to trust him when he was Southern. So...
No, he was a Chinaman.
Was he? Oh, God. Yeah. I swear I saw something about Southern, but... Yeah, either way... How do you
pretend to be a Chinaman?
I don't know.
I'm not going to try.
No, I'm not going to try. But whatever. I swear. Yeah. Anyway, but he had a different voice, and they didn't like. People were like, "Man, I don't know. This guy's a bit suspicious. I don't like this guy." So I'm like, you know who's the most trustworthy people? The Irish. Let's go with that. Everyone likes Irish people. Irish accents are so nice. Which is true. Irish accents are very, charming.
They're good.
So they made him Irish. So and then you get your first plasmid off I think a Gatherer's Garden machine. Yeah. And that's the electro thing. So he teaches you, combos. So you zap them and hit them and you get bonus damage. Yeah. So that's sort of like...
there's gameplay things.
There are a lot of interactions that you can build as you get more powers and different weapons and stuff. Well, not really the weapons, but the weapons are just all different ways of dealing X damage. Yeah. But the powers to sort of using, as we said, using water or gas or whatever, using different environmental things and comboing that with your abilities, with your shooting or hitting.
Yeah.
So very early on, you come into like the top of a theater, and this isn't the first time, but it plays knowing the end. It's the first time I noticed something, which is he says you walk in and there is a very brief cutscene where you're not in control, and he says,
"Careful now. Would you kindly lower that weapon for a minute? You think that's a child down there? Don't be fooled. She's a little sister now. Somebody went and turned a sweet baby girl into a monster. Whatever you thought about right and wrong on the surface, well, that don't count for much down in Rapture. Those little sisters, they carry Adam, the genetic material that keeps the wheels of Rapture turning. Everybody wants it, everybody needs it.
Would you kindly put that wrench away?" And you put it down. Like, it disappears off your screen. And you come up, and so you've come up into this theater, and there's a little sister down there, because that's what he's saying. He's saying, you don't want to go down there because
you don't want to beat on little girls.
Yeah, well, basically. I mean, you're up really high. It'd probably be leg breaking to jump down. Is there full damage? No.
No.
I don't think so.
Can you even jump? Yeah, you can. Wait.
You can jump.
Yeah.
So, but you head down and you're like safely on the other side of the glass, and then a Big Daddy comes in and like murders some guy. Because as we said at the start, the splicers, who are representing the harvesters in this three triumvirate of roles, they want to get the little sisters, and the Big Daddies are protecting the little sisters.
Yeah.
So the little sister's on her own.
Little
so when a harvester
collect,
comes in,
they collect the atom.
They collect atom off
and
people.
then the splicers want the atom because drugs.
Yeah.
And then the Big Daddies are like, "Nah, bro, don't even think about it. That's it. That's the
so in this exact situation, you get down there, and because the little sister's on her own, the splicer comes in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to creep on you," and then gets absolutely wrecked by a Big Daddy. So there's two types of Big Daddies in this: bouncers, which are the ones that we've at the start with the drill hands, and they're melee only, and then there's Rosies who have guns.
Yeah.
So he gets absolutely wrecked by this guy's drill, and so that sort of very quickly sets up the dynamic.
Yeah.
You've seen there's a little sister collecting some stuff. She's really creepy. She sings like as she injects people and like takes their stuff, and then the guy comes in creeping. Big Daddy protect. You get the whole dynamic straight away. And so then you quickly move into the first sort of main area. That was sort of the tutorial area, which is the medical pavilion. Hacking. I've written hacking. Hacking happens all the time. We talked about hacking a bit.
So much hacking.
So many hacking. Like,
hack the drones, hack the cameras, hack doors and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Bloody... God damn.
Yeah, at some point, you just start pressing that auto hack button. Like,
it costs like a couple of bucks or something.
It costs money, I think, or I think, is there auto hacks you can pick up, maybe? I think there's auto hack tools you can pick up.
If there's not, there's some other game that does it.
Yeah. So you like, there's so many hacks to do, and you just get sick of them eventually. It's just so many.
Yeah.
Because like every time you go around a corner, it's like, oh, there's a turret. Oh, you got to get behind. You got to hack it. Oh, there's a camera. Oh, if the camera sees you, then there's like 90 seconds where it just spawns infinite security bots to attack you, and you have to just gun them down for 90 seconds, and then it runs out, and then you get spotted again, and then you got to do it again. So that's an irritating part of the game, but it is like a weird sort of, it's a different mechanic thing that you like. It just adds something rather than just wander around, shoot people.
Yeah.
It's like you have to worry about hacking and worrying about getting spotted by these cameras. And you can do them in clever ways. So obviously if you hack a camera or a turret, it'll work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get like a good trick in some spots is you can get a Big Daddy spotted by a camera, and then he gets swarmed by a bunch of drones.
Because the turrets would not ever work in a real world sense. Like the flying turrets.
Yeah, they're pretty
They're
bad.
just flying metal things.
Yeah, they're just like a metal box with a gun and like a helicopter blade on the top. And they make really weird sounds.
They do.
Like, and the alarms. I just said that. You get like your first tonic. So as we said, tonics are like passives, so you can choose how you want to kit out your guy. You start with there's 3 different types. There's physical, There's engineering, I think, and there's... I can't remember the
I
third
don't know
one.
what it's called, but
But there's 3 different
one,
types. I'm not sure.
yeah. So yeah, you got your 3 different types of the tonics or whatever.
Yeah, so you
and
start
they complement your plasmids.
You start with one slot, and then you can use Atom, I believe, to unlock new slots. So there's sort of different ways you can use your Atom. The first way is that. Another way is at the Gatherer's Gardens where you do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But you can also buy new plasmids. So you can buy different ones, or you can buy upgrades on the ones you have. So like it goes up to like 3 on each one, I think. So you have to start with Electrobolt 1, but you can upgrade that to Electrobolt 2 or 3 and get more power or more stun length, more damage, all this stuff. And that applies to all of them. Mm-hmm. So you've sort of got the 2 choices, and I believe you can also buy with Atom health upgrades and Eve upgrades.
Yes,
which increases your maximum pool for both of those. So Eve is your mana in this case, which is what you need for plasmids. So you have, I don't know what the health ones are called. They're just called health hypos.
I think they're hypos.
Yeah, they're called the Eve hypos definitely, and they're just like you inject yourself. So health's red.
Yeah.
Eve's blue because always
as is
blue.
Yeah.
Inject yourself, and that boosts up your level. So you can carry like 9 of each.
Yeah, it's
and really stack up those the heals or the Eves. But yeah, every time you use plasmids, you've got to
it's just mana.
Yeah, you got to mana it up, but it doesn't regenerate on its own, which is a key.
Yeah.
So there's sort of, I mean, it's like everything. I'm like sitting there like, I'm never going to use my Eve. I'll just shoot them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to waste it. And then I'm sitting there with like max.
It's the RPG thing.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I might need this later. I don't need it now. Like, I need it later.
So I can't remember exactly why you have to do this. I think maybe the doctor has a key or something. You have to go after the doctor, Dr. Steinman.
Yeah.
I think he has the key to get out of the area or something, but Atlas tells you to go after him. He's like... So the idea is, the bosses are all messed up in some way by Atom, just like the other people, but they're messed up in a more creepy way. So Steinman's thing is that, like, he's got so obsessed with making people beautiful that he, like, disfigures them. It's weird. Like, he makes them too beautiful and he kills them.
Yeah.
So it's actually reminded me of... I was playing Arkham Knight last week, and in that there's a side boss, Professor Pig, who does the same thing. He creates Dolatrons, which are like, he thinks are like super beautiful people.
It's just, it's this weird psycho obsession with beauty and like just plastic surgery and all that jazz. And at one stage he's like, I don't know, but he's super obsessed with symmetry. I'm pretty sure that's his whole gig or something.
That's
because
all...
you encounter him and he's got like 3 women hanging from the roof or something. It's like, oh, this one was too fat. And it's like, what? She's like 50 kilos. Maybe. Like, oh, this one wasn't symmetrical. It's like, Christ, dude. What?
Yeah, it's just, he just takes it way too far and, starts messing people up and murdering them if they don't look right.
Yeah.
So you sort of have to go into the medical area and he runs away for a bit and then you get to fight him. Mm-hmm. It's nicely set out where he's got like some gas here, some water here, so you can just environmental attack him all day. He's quite tough, I think, from memory.
He is.
Yeah. You take him out. He's like the first boss, and that's a quick run through of Medical Pavilion. On the way out of that, you come up with the first time that you're supposed to go after a little sister.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you and me and all the tasty Atom I can drink.
Stay away from her or it is you who will be shot next.
Easy now, Doctor. He's just looking for a wee bit of Atom. Just enough to get by.
I'll not have him hurt my little ones.
It's okay, lad. It's not a child. Not anymore, it ain't. Dr. Tenenbaum saw to that.
Bitte, do not hurt her. Have you no heart?
Aye, that's a pretty sermon coming from the ghoul who cooked up them creatures in the first place. Took fine little girls and turned them into that, didn't you? Listen to me, boyo. You won't survive without the Atom those things are carrying. Are you prepared to trade your life, the lives of my wife and child, for Tenenbaum's little Frankenstein?
Here! There is another one. Use this. Free them from their torment. I will make it to be worth your while. Somehow.
So I think The Big Daddy gets killed in a cutscene, a very quick cutscene, by something else, so you don't have to fight it. And that's why you get your first choice. So Tenenbaum comes on. I think she's above you, so you can see you, because otherwise, because you've never heard from her before. No. So she sort of comes
because you get in this area and she's pointing the gun at you and she's like, you son of a gun, don't even think about it. And then Atlas is like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, she tells you to save them, save the little sisters, and Atlas is like, no, you gotta kill them, you gotta get that Atom.
Oh, they're gross, they're Frankenstein, just kill them.
Whatever. If you kill them, you'll get all that Atom, and it'll be real good, and you'll need that Atom to survive. And so you get the choice. So you can... I don't think I've ever seen the harvest animation, because I don't think I've ever done it.
No, what? Why?
Why would I
what sort of monster?
So they have weird, creepy, glowy, yellow eyes. Or is it red? I don't know.
They're yellow, I think.
Yellow, yeah. It's red. It's red in an early trailer, I believe, but yellow in this, in the game. And then when you do your heal thing on them, it sucks it out, and then they are just regular girls.
They still got big eyes, though.
They got big eyes, but they're just regular girls. Yeah. But they all look exactly the same too, which you find out later they're all genetically created or something. They do age a bit. I don't think they age while they've got this going. No. But they can age once you do that.
Yeah, because ending cutscene.
Yeah, ending cutscene. So the idea, and this is what I was going to say, what I had written in my history section, is the idea is that you can choose to be selfish and get extra Atom, or you can choose to help them.
Yeah.
But the problem is, in the end, it turns out that you're only very minorly disadvantaged by helping, because as soon as you help, every time you help 3, they'll drop a care package for you, and you get extra Atom in that. And so you end up almost the same. And Ken Levine said that he wanted it to be... that was actually 2K forced him to do that.
Oh, okay.
So he wanted it to be you're sitting there man, how am I going to do this if I can't kill how am I going to do this without killing them? I've got nothing. I've got no Atom.
Yeah.
And so... and that's a more...
that'd be better.
That's a more interesting choice.
It's actually a moral choice then, not it amounts to the same. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You almost end up the same. So basically everyone saves.
Yeah.
So, because of these bonuses. So if you take all that away and make it really low rewards, and then you're going, man, look at all these rewards, look at all this stuff I could get all this cool stuff, but I need to kill them. That's a real choice.
Yeah.
And that's something that was missing, and that was... I think 2K's argument is one of the arguments is we don't want to promote killing small children by making it better.
Yeah, that's
they also, I think that he said they also disagree with the idea of something making the game arbitrarily harder. So
I guess.
Whereas if you make a certain decision, the game's just harder no matter what difficulty you're playing on.
I see. I don't have a problem.
No, neither do I. But that was what he referenced as the idea. So that's the whole idea of the morality system, which ends up being flawed because of the way they implemented it.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the medical pavilion. You head into Neptune's bounty next. So what you're doing is Atlas is saying he's going to get you out, and I think
you're trying to save his wife and son.
You're trying to save his wife and son. Yeah. Now, I think he's going to take you with him. I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know why you'd help him otherwise, but
I'd imagine
what the reason is. Obviously, I know why you help him, but so yes, the Neptune's bounty is like a dock type area, which is a bit weird because the whole thing's underwater anyway, but they have docks.
Sure.
They have docks, but there's no water where the pier is, you know what I mean? You can walk down there. It's weird.
What's the point of the dock? Is it just like a food thing?
It's like a fishery, yeah. So I guess they get fish from maybe they have some system where they let the water in and all the fish come in and they fish them and then they drain the water. I don't know. It's all fancy.
Yeah.
So this is where you're first introduced really to Fontaine in audio logs. There's a lot of logs talking about him, logs from him, and there's definitely a bit where there's a dude that's been strung up or something, and there's a log about how he murdered him or something while they were interrogating him. You need to meet up with Atlas's buddy, who's called Peach Wilkins.
Yeah,
and you get. This is a thing I like. It is a bit of a video game trope, whereas this is where the first spider splicer is, and they really make it seem like it's really important. She's got a whole personality, and she's creeping around above you for a while. Is this the same one from the start of the game? Because I think she is a spider splicer.
I think you
kills that
kill
first
that
person.
one, though.
But I think she's a spider splicer.
I don't know.
But she's got the weird hook hands.
Maybe. I thought you... Yeah, but I thought you killed that one when she's looking in the crib.
Is that her?
Pram, I think so.
No, I thought that was just rando. Maybe. I thought this was the first spider splicer, but maybe not. Yeah. But anyway, this one, they make it feel important.
Isn't this where you get the camera?
You go to see Peach, and he's like, "Oh, rootin' tootin', I need this camera, yeehaw!" And then, I mean, that's nothing like him at all. I don't know where that came from. That's not what he says at all. But I've been playing too much Red Dead Online.
Oh god, it's fun. But yeah, so she's like played up as like, oh my god.
Yeah, and there's a whole bit in his little room where she drops from the ceiling, and he has to like send out special weapons.
I think he says something like, "Oh, I'm trying to do the Irish one. He's not Irish either. I don't know what he is." But yeah, he's like, "Oh, she's too tough. Don't even bother." And then she buggers off into the ceiling. Or something.
And I'm not sure why he wants a camera. He wants you to take photos of the spider splicers, but I don't know why.
Research. I don't know.
Why does he care?
I don't know.
But you care because
it's a game.
That's another game again. So you go and get this camera, and it's another interesting thing that they've done to sort of just change up the gameplay, and it's completely optional, but it also isn't in a way.
What happens if you research them? You do more damage?
Yeah, when you take photos of them, you slowly level up your like knowledge about them. So you get a bonus for like the first, like each shot has diminishing returns on the same person, and you get bonuses for action shots. So if like they're attacking you, and
they're
you're
lunging
like,
at you, and they're like, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
Yeah, they're trying to kill you, and you're just sitting there like snapping some shots at them. You get bonus points for that. So you can sort of spam because you usually have a lot of film reel. But obviously, eventually, it just becomes like negligible to no bonus. And so as you level up your grade, like from E to A, you get bonuses each level. So you get more damage against them. I think at one point you get some sort of... There's some other thing you get like that's specifically related to them, or like that's a different thing about them. Maybe like better loot off them or something like that.
Oh, you might be right.
You can loot them better or
like
something.
They have a weak point?
Yeah, they have maybe something like that. As you level it up, you get more stuff. And you can do this for all enemies.
Yeah.
So there's only like 5 or 6 different types of enemy. There's like 4 different types of splicer. Thuggish splicer.
Leadhead. Is Leadhead one?
Lead splicer. I think it's just called lead. I don't know. Maybe leadhead. Thuggish splicers like melee splicer. Lead splicer. Shooting splicer. Spider splicers like jumping around on the ceiling and throws like hooks at you, sort of things, like hooks. And Houdini splicer who can just teleport.
They throw fireballs too, I think.
Yes. Yeah. So those are the 4, and then there's the 2 types of Big Daddy, Rosie and Bouncer. You can take photos of the little sisters. I believe when you level up the little sister one, you get like bonus health or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you can take photos of turrets too, I believe, and get stuff against turrets, which makes it easy to hack them and stuff, I think. But
I don't know how this works in an actual...
Yeah, you're just like, that's a turret, definitely. That'll make it easier to hack. I've got this photo from like, 10 meters away of this turret. That's obviously going to make it easier to hack.
It has a gun.
Yeah. So, or you take a photo of a security camera, like, yep, that's a security camera. Now it's easy to hack.
How's it feel?
I'll show you. So, yes. When we were talking about the alarms too, there's like you can like pay to turn off the alarm, I believe, early and stuff like that. But anyway, so you just go around taking photos of everything throughout the rest of the game to level up your things. So you don't, like I said, you don't have to do it, but it's a big advantage to get that extra damage, like against all the different types of enemies and stuff, because they're going to be the same enemies the whole time. So to introduce you to this mechanic, he makes you take a photo of. You have to get 3 spider splicer shots. I think that getting the 3 will level you up the first level. So you sort of in the game you have to get that first level, and then when you get that first level, you're like, "Ooh, I got stuff out of it."
Yeah.
So you're like,
"There's incentive."
Cool. Yeah, there's a reason to do it. So you take the photos for him. You take him back to him. I don't know why he wants the photos, but you give it to him. I think you kill that first spider splicer that she's like jumping down from the ceiling. He like has to send something out to you. I think he sends like some sort of explosives out to you.
A grenade launcher.
Yeah, he sends a grenade launcher out. So there's a few different weapons, but they're very generic weapons. There's like you got your wrench, you got pistol, you've got like Tommy gun because it's the 60s.
Shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun, rocket launcher. Yeah. Basic stuff. I think you get a flamethrower later.
Yes. Yeah.
And then obviously you got on your left LT, you've got your whatever your plasmid is, and you've got a radial wheel. You can choose what plasmid you want. I think is there a limit to how many you can have on at once? I think so. I think you may have like 4 at once.
I think it's 4 or 5.
Yeah, you can,
I know later in the game it like messes with you or something, and you can like.
Oh yeah,
we'll
yeah. There's a bit. Yeah, there's a bit where you have random. Yeah. Yeah, I think you can only have a certain number in the slots, and you have to change it based on how you want to be kitted out. So there's some that are sort of like almost compulsory, like the electro bolt, because there's usually water around that you can use, or the fire one.
The others there's a lot of gimmicky ones.
Yeah, and there's some that aren't as useful. So you only really get like once you choose those really basic ones, like electro bolt's so good because it stuns turrets as well, like in cameras. So once you get through the gimmicky ones, you sort of only have like 2 slots left, maybe to choose ones you want.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of, I'll play one like of these probably in the edit after I say this sentence.
Light up foes to 1,000 degrees. Warning, fire spreads.
There's like little vignettes sort of things for each one that's like, set your enemies on fire, incinerate, and then it's like a little jingle.
Like a little cartoon.
Yeah, there's a little cartoon man that like just sits there and he's like, haha, and then something.
Telekinesis can throw stuff at people. It's like, okay, that's telekinesis.
Yeah, so it's, those are sort of, again, that's like a fun little atmosphere, because you can imagine people go into the
oh boy, I can't wait to get my telekinesis.
Oh, gee willikers, I gotta get this. I gotta get this cool thing, and then there's a little fun advertising jingle. I'm like, yeah, I want to get that.
Hell yeah!
So yeah, that's fun. Why, like in a logical built society, why do you need the ability to throw bees at people? In a society that's not broken down, which is what would happen when they invented these. Why do you need the ability to summon and throw bees?
Why would, like, a fire I can get? Not, here, start a fire, catch,
Yeah.
Even electricity is like,
it's
don't know what you do with it.
I mean, there's also one called Hypnotize Big Daddy.
I was just about to say
if they had Hypnotize Big Daddy, you'd think that all the Big Daddies would
If this is a proper society, and then someone's walking around like, pranks, and like, what's the point?
Yeah, I don't know. But these all things all exist. So, yes, so he lets you... Because he's Atlas's guy, and so he's supposed to have let you just in straight away, but he made you get the camera first. So he lets you in, and then he's like, well, I don't allow any weapons in here, so you better dump all your weapons in this box. So you're like, okay, I'll dump all the weapons. I mean, you don't want to, but you do.
And Atlas is like, oh, he can't take your plasmids from you, though.
Yeah. He's like, well, you haven't got weapons, but you've got your plasmids. And then, I think that's more Scottish, but... But of course, you go down into this freezer area, and he immediately turns on you.
Yeah.
And so you've got to fight him with plasmids and...
Wrench?
Only. I think you have wrench, maybe. I don't know if you do have wrench.
I think you can eventually pick up guns from people you kill.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. So you're basically, he's got like a turret protecting him, and he's got like, it's like really foggy.
Because it's like a freezer.
It's a freezer, yeah. But he's like got mist or something going on. So you can sort of, you got to, makes it a bit difficult to fight him without any weapons. Which, I don't know, it's like they do... The last fight in this game is really bad.
Yeah.
So it's like these fights are more interesting. Like, we'll have to fight.
It eventually boils down to like, we need a boss fight at the end of the game.
Yeah, they basically said like they weren't happy with the boss fight that they got at the end. It wasn't like that effective.
Yeah.
So he turns on you, you fight him, move on with your life eventually.
Yeah.
This is the first time I remember seeing a power to the people, but I'm not sure, which is the upgrade stations.
Oh, yeah.
So each weapon has 2 or 3 upgrades that you can do for it, and there's a power to the people station that if you find it, you get 1 upgrade and then it turns off. So there's obviously a limited number, and you're probably not going to upgrade everything, especially if you miss any, which is some of them it's hard, like it's easy to miss. And there's also the last shop that we haven't talked about. So there's the Circus of Value, which is the best one. Best one. There's the El Ammo Bandito, which just sells you ammo. The Gatherer's Garden, which sells you atom upgrades.
Yeah.
And that's like the Little Sisters one, where it's like...
Is there a health one?
Oh, there's like a little... You can get medical stations.
I think so, yeah.
There's like a little medical station where you just buy something.
Oh.
Buy health. I don't know if there's like a health station.
Yeah. No,
I think you just buy health potions
I'm
from
thinking
the
of
circus.
Borderlands.
Yeah, I think you just buy them from the circus of value.
Yeah.
And then the Gatherer's Garden's like the little sisters where you're like, are you as good as my daddy? Oh, not if you don't go to the Gatherer's Garden, you aren't. The way she says aren't, that's the bit I remember. That's like the way she says it. That's the thing I always remember. And then there's the U-Invent station, which lets you like craft out of materials.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember what you craft. You can craft like special ammo, like electric buckshot for your shotgun or whatever.
There's like a... what's it?
There's
I forget what it's called.
There's tripwires for your crossbow.
What's the cold thing? Like where you spray...
Oh, the chemical thrower type thing.
Yeah.
That's like the flamethrower, but
What's
it's
it
a chemical
called?
thrower.
Liquid nitrogen.
Yeah, you can get liquid nitrogen. Yeah, that's what you get.
Yeah.
There's electric gel that you can use on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a flamethrower, electric thrower, and ice thrower.
Yeah.
So I guess that does give you more build options when you're talking about having to have electro bomb. You can have electro gel instead. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of secondary ammo types for some of these weapons. There's like the machine gun. I remember has anti-armor rounds and anti-personnel rounds. So obviously some are better against splicers and some are better against the turrets.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the U-Invent. You can invent sort of special ammo types and some normal ammo types too, like the shotgun. I think the shotgun you always want ammo for it, and you never have enough.
No.
So they're more around the place, but the power of the peoples are very limited because you only get one upgrade. So it's free; it doesn't cost you anything, but you get one choice, and then you got to move on.
It makes you think, what am I using the most, or what would be the most effective for me? Yeah,
which do I have the most ammo for? Which one am I going to find the most ammo for? What do I want to use? Yeah, so that's the first one I remember, but there probably could have been one before that I missed. And that's basically the end of Neptune's Bounty. So next place is Smuggler's Hideout, which is a short area.
Mm-hmm.
So you've made it to there's a bathysphere that's got Atlas's wife and child in it. So you don't see them, but you go up. So you go up, and Ryan's like,
You've had your fun, but enough is enough. If you press that button, you'll learn what it means to truly be my enemy.
You blow up fuse up there! Can't see a damn thing in that booth! Give me a tick, and I'll get you out of there! Moira! Can you hear me in there, darling?
So dark in here. If only your friend could look up and see you. Maybe you could warn him. If only you could do something, anything. Except just stand here and watch him die.
Splicers! They're everywhere! I can't hold them! Got to fall back! Get me family out and we'll regroup as soon as we can! Get out if you can! Get out and we'll regroup! Assault! No!
You ooze in like an assassin, and then you try to sneak out like a thief. You're no CIA spook. Who are you? Why have you come here? There's two ways to deal with a mystery. Uncover it, or eliminate it.
Ooh, if you flick that switch, because he wants you to open a door for Atlas, he's like, ooh, if you flick that switch, something bad's going to go down, and you're like, flip it anyway, and something bad goes down. So Atlas runs in, you sort of see him, like, as a little figure. I mean, does he look like in the picture? I guess he does. No, he can't.
I don't know. I think he's wearing a helmet.
Yeah, he's wearing a hat or something. Yeah. So he runs in, and then, like, the splicers attack, and the bathysphere, like, explodes or something.
And then, Andrew Ryan's like, man, if only you could warn him or something.
Yeah. He's just taunting you as Atlas is, like, going to look at it, and the spider splicers are advancing, and you can see them. And Ryan's taunting you with it. And then it, like, gets destroyed, and Atlas is, like, you know...
Oh, my family.
Oh, no.
That's Scottish. We're doing Scottish.
We're doing Scottish. Close enough.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but, his family...
Yeah.
Is dead.
Yeah, they're dead. Yeah. So he's like, oh, no. And then he's like, we got to kill him. We got to kill
I need
Ryan.
Revenge on Ryan now.
We got to kill Ryan. So they head off to... Actually, I have questions. Like... I guess Ryan's just a dick, but, like, knowing what we know about the end, how did Atlas know this was all going to happen? You know what I mean?
I presume it was just like,
'Cause
hey,
they're not real
here's
people.
incentive for you to do this, pal.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, Atlas is like, we need to save my wife and child. How did he know that Ryan was going to blow them up when they didn't even exist? You know what I mean? They're not real people.
Is Ryan the one that blows it up?
Or does he set it up himself? But
I was going to say, yeah.
But Ryan sends them to attack him. I guess they just send him to attack Atlas, and then Atlas sets up the explosion.
Atlas blows it up, yeah.
I guess. Shouldn't I
He's
be
like,
confused by
man,
that?
my family.
Yeah, I guess.
Like,
I guess, okay. I can accept that.
yeah.
So, yeah, he's like, alright, we've got to kill Ryan, and to do that, you got to get to this next place. So the next place is Arcadia. It's very, like, trees and
It's just a greenhouse.
Yeah, it's a greeny area.
I'm not sure I understand.
Sorry, Siri.
That was Siri. Ben's Siri just jumped into the conversation.
Anyway, thanks for that. So, yeah, it's all trees and such.
Yeah, I haven't remembered. There's a tree part and there's sort of I think the market part's...
Andrew Ryan gasses the trees, which seems kind of counterproductive because
they need
this
trees
place
to
is, what generates all the oxygen.
Yes.
So
for some reason, you're offended by him gassing the trees because you want to save them. I don't know why. I think you need to save them to open the door for some reason, but I'm not sure what the reason is.
I don't know. And then, what's her name?
Julia Langford is the name of the doctor.
She's like, man, help me do the trees.
She's in charge of the trees, and she's like, oh, that Ryan, he ruined the trees.
He wanted me to make the trees, and now he's taking the trees.
Yeah, so you go up to see her, and then she gets gassed and murdered immediately.
Yeah.
And
then
like,
please don't. And then she writes a code.
She writes the code to a safe.
Breaths.
Yeah. On the wall. There's a few safes in this game where you got to find the code contextually around the area, or you can Google it, but I don't Google it. So I think there's doors as well that have like combination boxes as well, doors and safes. But so then you read her notes and you find out you need enzymes and distilled water to create this thing called the Lazarus vector.
Yeah,
Lazarus, like the most overused word for resurrection ever.
Yeah, we're bringing trees
Everyone
back to
loves
life.
Lazarus. Yeah. So you have to go down to the farmer's market. There's not much in the farmer's market, except you just go around. Some of these you can pick up off people, I think. The water, definitely you can, I think. The enzymes, I think you have to, is more like selective where you can get it from.
Yeah.
But you definitely have to go into this room that's just filled with bees. And you have to like pull the switch and the smoke comes to stop them, and then you run around really quick and try and search all the beehives for the stuff, and then it'll come back and they'll swarm the room again.
Maybe the whole throwing bees at people is just an inside joke. Like everyone knows. Man, that bee room sucks. What if we could do that? But
yeah. So there's not much really down here. Like, I remember.
This feels like a side quest.
This is a side quest. There is some filler in this, in the main story. Like, I mean, there is only the main story, really.
Yeah.
But
there's no side missions.
There's side areas, but not side missions, yeah. So, this bit's definitely a bit of filler, like busy work. And actually, there's a lot of busy work coming up, but the next part I really liked as busy work. So you go back. I remember this area, like, it's all over the place, but this area, there's like these big posters for Atlas, like, who is Atlas? And he's like standing there all heroic like Superman. And it's sort of the question, who is, like, that's what sort of, like, I mean, you didn't know his name wasn't just Atlas and that was just who he was, like, you know what I mean? But that gives you the idea it's an alias. So you head back, you save the trees, and then you have to do like a wave defense while you wait for it to do whatever it does, because the splices for some reason want to destroy the oxygen supply. So you have to do a wave defense. So you can set up, if you were smart enough when you came in, you could have hacked all the turrets that were here and they would help you. But if you
place
destroyed
down
them
like those electric wire traps too.
But if you destroyed them, you're in a bit of trouble. And you can set, I think there's cameras as well that you can get the bots on the enemies and stuff. So you do a wave defense, and then you get to move on to the next bit. So this is the definition of like filler side. Like, we don't have any more main plot, but we need to extend the game. So you come into Fort Frolic, and Atlas is like, all right, just walk through here. This is just a side bit part. We don't need to go here. We can just walk through to the next bathysphere station. So you walk through, you go to open the bathysphere, and it disappears. And Sander Cohen's like, hey,
Pranked,
no.
it's side mission time.
Yeah. And he cuts off the radio so you can't hear Ryan, you can't hear Atlas. And he's just like, all right, we're going to be best buds now for like an hour.
Hey, go do my stupid, sick photos for me.
What I've just written about Sander Cohen. He is an artiste. That is his thing.
That's a word I'd use, I guess.
So he's like very much leaning into like the opera, like the showmanship.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say classical music, but it wasn't
just
classical.
big
at
and
the time.
theatrical.
I guess Tchaikovsky was still classical at this point in the 60s.
Yeah.
So he's very much into the classical. He's a showman, all that
It's
sort of
just
stuff.
like super avant-garde,
And he has really creepy statue people that are like...
Are they just covered in plaster or something?
They're like people that are like, frozen in plaster.
But they're actual people, yeah.
They're actual people, yes. So that's a bit weird. So you go into like a theatre and he's like forced some guy to play piano. He's forced some guy to play piano and then he doesn't like it, so he murders him.
I think he blows it up.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, take
then you got to take photos of, So he's got in his main room like 4 statue people holding little plaques.
This
he
is
wants
magnum
to
opus.
His masterpiece, which is 4 photos of dead people.
Were it so simple.
So he gets you to take a photo with this guy, and then he's like, all right, here are 3 other people that I need you to take photos of.
Yeah.
And he tells you where they are. So you you can do this in any order, I guess. But there is a logical path that makes it more obvious.
Then you just, you bugger off and...
You head off to do them. So one of the one that I remember that's the sneaky guy is you come into a room and there's just a bunch of ice patch statues, and one of them's him.
Yeah.
So you got to you run around going like, is this guy him? And then when you look away, he comes behind you and like hits you or something. The other 2 are just, they're just around normal guys. This is where it's a really weird sequence. So once you do the 3rd picture, so each time you place a picture, he'll give you a little reward. So one of the times he gives you the crossbow, which is a new weapon. But once you do the 3rd one, he just sends all his dudes to attack you. I don't know if he has like a crisis of confidence or something, I don't know.
Oh, he says something like, "Oh, you artists sometimes unsure about their work." Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
like,
so he just decides to kill you. So he sends all these people in, and there's this really weird sequence where you have to survive like 2 or 3 minutes against an infinite wave of dudes while the Waltz of the Flowers by Tchaikovsky plays. So you would know, if you don't know by name, you know the Waltz of the Flowers.
Yeah.
So it's like the... That's
pretty good, actually.
That's pretty good. That's it. So you'll know that.
Yeah.
I think it's from the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
But it's not the one that everyone knows from the Nutcracker, which is the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. It's not that one. But it is in the Nutcracker, I think. So he plays... So it's a really weird juxtaposition of all these dudes trying to murder you while that plays. And then, you eventually, you clear them out and whatever.
And he's like, man, sorry, you want to do this last thing for me? Like,
he's like, oh, sorry, look, we're friends again, it's fine. Can you go get the last guy? So, you finish it, and then he, comes down the stairs, he's got the spotlight, he's excited,
What I'd done is I confused this and Borderlands. Somehow in my mind.
Oh, yes. That's the best boss battle ever.
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's going to come down the stairs. He's going to fall down the stairs. He's going to die. This is what happens. I remember this.
Yes, there is so if you don't know, there's I believe it's a Borderlands 2 DLC where the final battle...
I think it's the 3rd DLC.
Yeah. The final boss literally trips down some stairs and dies immediately before you have to fight him, which is classic Borderlands.
Yeah.
It's not classic BioShock.
Somehow I was like, man, this guy's just going to fall down the stairs.
Yeah. So he comes down he's doing the rose throw or whatever, throwing his arms out. And you can just shoot him if you want and get into combat with him. But, there is some ramifications to this. So if you don't kill him, he will be like, we're best buds now, and he'll open his door, he'll open his little thing, and there's a tonic in there, which I believe is Medical Expert 2, which is... increased healing from health kits, so that's pretty good one. And if you leave him alive, there's actually later on. Actually, I skip. I believe it's in Apollo Square. I wrote my literal notes for Apollo Square later on. Is nothing much happens, so I'll talk about this now because I'm going to skip it later.
Yeah.
So in Apollo Square, it's like an apartment complex. There's one room you can go in, and he has a couple dancing to the waltz, and he's like, "Don't do anything to him." if you leave him, let's say this is obviously if you kill him, this area is like you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So if you go in there, he's like, don't ruin their dance. So you can like, I sort of tried to mess with them without ruining them, like see what I could do. But as soon as you like do anything to them, I think if you turn off the music, that's the one that got me. I shot the gramophone.
Yeah.
And that ruins it. So then they attack you, and then once you kill like a certain number of guys, he'll come down the stairs and fire you.
Oh, okay.
And that door is inaccessible unless he comes down it, and up there is the Power to the People station.
Oh,
so you get so you can get an extra upgrade in this side area if you leave him alive at this point. So there's really no reason not to kill him because you can kill him again later anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get a bonus. You get both this medical tonic, and I think if you kill him, you can still get the medical tonic because you can get the like key off him or something.
I think so.
But you lose access to the Power to the People.
Yeah.
I think he has something else in there too that you might be able to get if you kill him.
I think he has 2 different...
Yeah, he has 2 different boxes. So I think there's another box in there that you can get if you kill him. But yeah, the other option is the Power to the People. So yeah, that's just a side area, which I'm not going to talk about Apollo Square later because it's boring. Nothing happens in it. So after that, he just goes, "All right, bro, you can go now. I'll let you go." And
Thanks
so he
for
turns,
this side mission.
yeah, thanks for doing this. And so it's just weird, like, you know, I mean, like this dude. He locks you in, he forces you to do his thing, and then you're just like, okay, thanks, bro, I'm out.
It's because everyone in this city is
he's just taking it too far. Yeah.
Just,
he's just taking everything too far.
If I was Jack, I'd just shoot myself straight in the head. Like, if I got all this bathysphere at the start, saw some bloke getting murdered, I'd take the wrench and I'd just beat myself in the head.
Yeah, that seems fair. I mean, the thing is, it's like, isn't Jack, like, the moral of the story is that Adam makes you go crazy, and then Jack's just sitting there, like, injecting himself with as many plasmas as he can find.
I mean, maybe it's a like, gradual thing. I presume it's not like... I don't know. It's like drugs. I don't know.
I guess
like,
you keep doing them.
Yeah,
I don't know. But, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Hephaestus is the next area. Another Greek name. Obviously, you know, forge, god, or whatever. Again, I just read a lot of filler. Like, literally, my dot points for this are a lot of filler. Have to get past Ryan security, build a bomb or an EMP or something.
It's an EMP, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to, like, go into this.
Your objective is you're trying to get into Ryan's office because you want to kill him because
exactly.
He killed Atlas's
family.
And
also, well, okay, we didn't. Did I mention? I don't think I mentioned this on recording. I mentioned it to you off recording. Where at the start, Ryan thinks you're like the reason Ryan like cares about you is he thinks you're like a spy from the government.
He thinks you're a CIA spy.
Yeah, because he hates the government. That's why he made this
You're
place.
here to ruin me. You absolute piece of garbage.
Yeah, exactly. So he hates the government because he made this place, and like because he hates the government. So he thinks that they're coming to shut him down or something. I mean. They're pretty shut down as it is. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's not,
if I was the government and I rocked up this place, I'd go, yeah, I think my work's done here. I think we did this one. Good work, boys. I think we've shut this down.
Let's go home.
Yeah. So, yes. So, yeah, you have to... He's got, like, a security gate that you have to... So, you go into this whole side area to build an EMP to get through it. Some of it involves killing big daddies who don't have little sisters with them. So in each level, there's a certain number of little sisters that you can get. And as I said, if you get every 3 that you get,
there's 21 big sisters and little sisters in total. 21.
21. Yeah, that's a number. Yeah, a number related to this game.
Yes.
I wonder what that could be for.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, but there's more than 21 big daddies because at some point here you just have to murder big daddies constantly until you get like a part off them.
Yeah.
Not the fun time, but, you know, it just extends it. Like, some of that you just spend running around like, I wonder if there's another big daddy over here. Oh, no, there's not.
I think a lot of, like, this bit, and then arguably after this bit is just filler.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, I feel like the story sort of drops off a little bit at this point. Like, there is a lot more busy work.
The story is absolutely like a roll. It goes all the way up to the twist. And it's just like...
And it sort of drops off to the end,
yeah.
Like, yeah, there's sort of... I guess the fact that you had such an objective that felt so close, which was getting to Atlas's family, and then they push it along, and then they continue to push the objective along as you get near it every time.
Yeah.
You sort of start... As it continues, you start to think, oh, man, they've moved the goalposts again.
The goalposts, yeah.
So, yeah, at this point, you build the bomb, you get through his security... And you head into the control room. And this is the big twist. So there's actually like... I said in my head, I remember I wanted to say, I thought about this yesterday, and I wanted to say there was 3 twists, but in a row. I remember 2 of them that I was thinking of. I guess there's 3 crucial things that happen, I guess. I'd say 3. You find out the thing.
What's happening, who that is, who you are.
Yeah, who you are. So I want to discuss this bit because I'm not sure about it. So so you enter and Ryan said,
even in the book of lies, sometimes you find truth. There is indeed a season for all things. And now that I see you, flesh to flesh and blood to blood, I know I cannot raise my hand against you. But know this, you are my greatest disappointment. Does your master hear me? Atlas, you can kill me, but you will never have my city. My strength is not in steel and fire. That is what the parasites will never understand. A season for all things. A time to live and a time to die. A time to build and a time to destroy! Come now, my child. There is one final thing to discuss.
What? Ryan set the core to self-destruct. This is different than what you did. He's got a mind to take down the whole damn city. Get in there and whack the chunk before the whole joint blows!
Oh, I can't. Now that I see you, I know that I can't raise my hand against you. I can't fight you.
Yeah.
And then he says, you are my biggest disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all very weird and vague.
Yeah.
And then he decides to blow up the whole place. So he starts the self-destruct. And Atlas is like, oh God, you better go stop that.
Quick, kill him.
So, and then you are seconds from the big twist, and you walk into a room. And then the room tells it to you before the game tells it. You know what I mean? There's 2 audio logs in that room that tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know how I feel about it. Like,
I feel like you can infer, but the actual cutscene beats you over the head with it. Which is also no pun intended.
That's what I mean. I feel like it might be more impactful without this room that gives it away to you beforehand.
But conversely, I feel like having it told to you directly instead of you stumbling upon it and being like, "What is that? Maybe? Huh? Maybe? What?" is arguably better.
I mean, it's hard to... I can't remember how I felt about this when I did it the first time, which is obviously, when you didn't know the twist. The second time, it just felt like, you only had to wait 1 minute and they would have told me. Because it's not like they make it vague in this cutscene.
No.
They flash back, they, show it all to you very explicitly. But then you walk in, just beforehand, you walk into a room that just says, "Would you kindly," written in red on the wall.
Yeah.
And you're like... You should remember how many times Atlas has said that to you, because he says it a lot.
The twist is, in case we're being too vague,
yeah,
you are under the influence of brainwashing. Anytime someone begins or ends a phrase with "would you kindly," you are then compelled to do said action. So if someone was like, "would you kindly just neck yourself?"
Yes.
And he's like, all right.
Which he tries later.
Yeah. So that's the twist. You've been used by Atlas this whole time. Atlas is a scumbag.
Your entire existence is a lie.
Yeah. I think it's like, oh, you don't actually have a family.
No. You were
this is all put in your head.
You were raised in 2 years. I think you've only lived for 2 years. And you were a kid and they genetically raised you.
Actually, yeah, that would make sense.
They genetically raised you into a human. They sent you out into the world with memories and then they set you up to take down the plane.
Mm.
So, alright, so in this room there's 2 diaries. The first one is him trying to condition people. He's trying to condition, I think, you or maybe someone else.
Is this Dr. Suchong?
Dr. Suchong, yes. I skipped him in my voice actors bit. He was actually had some stuff. He did some stuff. Let me quickly look, because I remember I said I'd get to the good people. Oh, he plays a main role in Marvel's Runaways, which I haven't seen.
No, I haven't seen it either.
But yeah, he's Dr. Suchong, so he's like the geneticist guy, really, or I don't know. Tenenbaum's sort of the geneticist. I don't know what he is. He's like I know
he
works.
You
for
see
Ryan,
him in person in
but also
the BioShock Infinite DLC.
Yeah,
you see, because you go into his office in this and see this big ass drill.
Yeah. So
through him. You see that in the DLC.
I think he created. Did he create the little? No, Tenenbaum created the little sisters. But he created the Big Daddies, I think. And the little sister. There's an audio log later where the little sister. So they're all around. Like he's around with the little sisters, and one of them's like, "Hey, I want to do something or whatever." Like because they're little kids, and he's like, "Get out of here!" And he like slaps her or whatever. Yeah. And then the Big Daddy just like, "All right, it's on," and kills him.
No, I think that's exactly... Yeah. I haven't played the BioShock Infinite DLC, but you absolutely see how he dies in it.
Yeah, okay.
Like, he gets hard impaled, slammed on the table, and then crap drilled out of him.
So he's the one that's in charge of conditioning you. Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to let this cutscene play, and then we can talk about it.
The assassin has overcome my final defense. And now he's come to murder me. In the end, what separates a man from a slave? Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys. You think you have memories. A farm. A family. An airplane. A crash. And then this place. Was there really a family? Did that airplane crash? Or was it hijacked? Forced down. Forced down by something less than a man. Something bred to sleepwalk through life until they are activated by a simple phrase spoken by their kindly master. Was a man sent to kill, or a slave? A man chooses. A slave obeys. Come in. Stop, would you kindly? Would you kindly? Powerful phrase. Familiar phrase.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly? Run! Stop! Turn. A man chooses. A slave obeys. Kill! A man chooses. A slave obeys. Obey!
Hurry now! Grab Ryan's genetic key! Now would you kindly put it in that goddamn machine?
So, what happened was, there's like a stripper or something named, I can't remember her name, but she was Ryan's mistress.
Yeah.
And Fontaine set up, he paid her to get pregnant and then they like extracted the egg, raised the kid, and then gave it all this programming so that it would do whatever they say.
You're the illegitimate son of Andrew Ryan.
Yes.
That's the second twist. That's two.
That's the two twists. So the explain of this is that why you have to be Ryan's kid is because the security is trained to not target Ryan, and so because you're half Ryan, you are only you're half immune to the security, so it'll still attack you, but I guess that's why you can sort of hack it or something. I don't know.
Sure.
It's like they sort of are saying like if you weren't Ryan at all, it would just mess you up immediately. Whereas it's sort of, I mean, they are pretty inaccurate, those security drones. Maybe they're like confused by the fact that you're half Ryan. Anyway, that's how they explain it. So you would have just heard Ryan. He reveals most of this to you. You flash back to all these times of him saying, "Would you kindly? Would you kindly?" And the last one's like, "Would you kindly go to Ryan's office and kill that son of a bitch?" And then, I guess the commands don't work permanently because you don't kill him immediately.
No, I mean it's a bit wishy-washy.
But I guess you go to him and he's like, "Stop, would you kindly?" And then I
think he tells you to sit. Like, I'm a dog.
sit, stand, like go over there, turn around, run over there, and then he weirdly makes you kill him.
Yeah, I think it's to prove a point.
He's to prove a point. Like he's sort of like
he's like a man chooses, a slave obeys.
A slave obeys.
Yeah.
And he proves that you're a slave.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess he's sort of like he's at this point now where I mean, Atlas could just tell you to kill him at any point. So he's just like, I'm going to make you do it to sort of show you.
Yeah.
And so that's almost another like twist, I guess, that you kill the boss in a cutscene because he makes you. Like I guess that's part of the first twist, which is you're being controlled. So the big thing about this is you can't do this in every game, but it's like it explains what you're doing.
It becomes retroactively.
It explains
makes everything better.
It explains why you're just obsessively following this objective marker like you do in every game.
Yeah.
Because he's making you.
Yeah.
And that's why when I said that first in that earlier cutscene where you put the wrench away, that's a very subtle thing where he says, "Would you kindly put that wrench, put that away?" And you just put it away. Like
questions
you're
asked.
forced to put it away and you watch the cutscene. Now that's something that you do in other games.
Any other game, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, whatever."
Yeah, your gun. You just you turn your gun away and you're like, "All right, I'm watching this cutscene." But it explains everything.
Yeah.
Why you did what he did. Why you sort of But you have the freedom to wander around however you want. But you're actually all still working for Atlas.
Yeah, I mean at the end of the day, it's a meta thing. Like you can't progress until you do this objective, which gives it it's an in-game reason because you're told to do this, you're forced to do it, but it's also like in a real world sense, you got to do this to progress your game.
Yeah, they explain the game or they make it canon. I guess the whole game situation. So
it's why I feel like this game benefits from repeat playthrough.
Yeah, I mean, anything with a big twist like that, it's like you look back and you go, "Oh man, this is wow, he really did say 'would you kindly' a lot."
Yeah.
Like and then I did all the stuff that he said. Like he said to do it, and I did it. Like I have basic brain function, so it's like when he says "go kill Ryan," I don't just walk in a straight line towards him.
Yeah.
I go, "Oh well, I have to get past this door, so I better go do this stuff." But that's all towards the one goal of what he's told you to do.
It amounts to
and then you quickly grab the genetic key off Ryan because you want to turn off the self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
You go in there, and then we get reveal number 3.
Yeah.
Nice work, Bio. It's time to end this little masquerade. There ain't no Atlas kid. Never was. Fella in my line of work takes on a variety of aliases. Hell, once I was even a Chinaman for 6 months. But you've been a sport, so I guess I owe you a little honesty. The name's Frank Fontaine.
I gotta say, I had a lot of business partners in my life, but you, of course, the fact that you were genetically conditioned to bark like a cocker spaniel when I said, would you kindly, might have had something to do with it, but still. Now, as soon as that machine finishes processing the genetic key you just fished off Ryan, I'm gonna run Rapture to toes. You've been a pal, but you know what they say? Never mix business with friendship. Thanks for everything, kid. Don't forget to say hi to Ryan for me.
Which is that Atlas
isn't real.
No, Atlas will. You already know Atlas is an alias, but now you know that it is for Frank Fontaine.
Yeah. Fontaine's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's
pretending to be Atlas, and for a New Yorker, he does a very good Irish accent.
Never falters. Like, he's props to him.
Which you would have heard in the voice acting thing. They're actually played by two different people.
Yeah, well.
So,
yeah. No one's perfect.
Exactly. But to be fair, the Irish guy does play Fontaine in BioShock 2. So,
okay.
So I assume he plays the New Yorker version.
Well, there you go.
So, and there's some clever audio logs later of ones where he's just like talking in his New Yorker accent, being like, "Haha, I'm so sneaky. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do all this stuff." And someone walks in and is like, "Hey," and he's like, "Oh hey, I didn't see you there."
Yeah, this is where
just switches.
I think this is the part where he's like, "Oh, I pretended to be Irish. I don't know why I'm being Western here." But yeah, he's like, "Oh, I was Irish. At one point I was even a Chinaman for like..."
Yeah, he does say that. Yeah.
It's like, what? How? Is this like, are you just fooling people with your voice? Are you just putting on like a racist voice? How are you... How?
You know, there's like a little picture that comes up when he talks. It's like, where did that picture come from?
The picture changes.
The picture changes when he becomes Fontaine, exactly. But it's like, when he was first Atlas, where did that picture come from?
I don't know.
Is that what
he put on a wig?
That could have come up on your radio. I don't know if the radio has a screen. Because like when Ryan talks, his little logo comes up, like his face logo comes up on the screen. But yeah, I mean... It just sort of that moment where it says, like, he says in like the Irish accent, "Oh yeah, I'm not who you think I am," or something, and then it does the little fade out that it does when the end of the radio conversation, like, it fades out and then it fades back in, and then there's Fontaine's little logo there, and he starts talking New Yorker, and reveals it all to you that he's set this all up. He did like, as we said, he can mission for you to be existing and created you.
What's his end goal?
To control Rapture. He wants it all.
Okay. All right.
He wants to own it.
Okay.
That's what he says. Something
Why would you want? Like, I can get owning it when it was good, but now.
Yeah, no, I don't know why he wants it now.
Just go back to the surface, bro.
Yeah,
just like
true. But I don't know how roided up he is at this point, but he's crazy roided up by the
this
end.
Dude.
I don't know if he'd be accepted on the surface level. So, and then he plans to like kill you. Now, slight plot hole. He doesn't just immediately kill you here.
Yeah, God. Once you've done the bidding, just be like, would you kindly just shoot yourself, bro?
Yeah, just would you kindly shoot yourself, and then that's it.
Instead he's like, "Oh, you moron, you absolute idiot."
Yeah, and then he sends the security to kill you.
Yeah.
And so the little sisters, which, I mean, if you murdered all the little sisters...
I was going to say...
I don't know what happens here. I guess they still help you, but the little sisters help you run off to... And
hey,
you're like...
here.
I think you get knocked out by something, or... Because you end up passing out.
You fall down a hole.
Yeah, okay.
And, like, yeah.
Yeah, you end up passed out, and then Tenenbaum wakes you up, and you're in the little sisters' like house where they all live.
Welcome back, child. Welcome to the city where you were born. You are angry at Fontaine, yes? Now you know the truth. You are his tool, brought back to Rapture to save him. You have saved many of my little ones. I owe you a debt. While you sleep, I undo some of Fontaine's mental conditioning. His control is no longer complete, but he can still pull some very unpleasant strings. Free made your mind with many locks and keys. Fontaine has most of those keys, but not all. Suchong designed your mind, taught Fontaine to control you. You might find answers in Suchong's flat in Mercury Suites.
And I think the number you've saved changes how many are there normal looking and how many are creepy looking, and if you kill them, obviously they'll just not be there. I'm pretty sure. Because there are definitely some normal looking ones which wouldn't be there if you hadn't saved them.
Yeah.
And she sort of says, I got rid of some of his programming, but I need a bit more time, or you need to get some cure, because she was the one that she raised you. I don't know, but Suchong did the conditioning, so I think she's been working on an antidote or something.
Anyway, her whole thing is she's trying to break your
conditioning.
And
so then you go. So then at this moment, Fontaine's like, all right, good try, guys. Now I'm going to kill you. So, he didn't kill you 10 minutes earlier. Because
she gives you some slight cure.
Yeah. She's got rid of some of it, so he won't just do every. So he's like, all right, this has been pretty fun. He's like, yeah, this has been pretty fun.
Yeah.
And now you've got hooked up with Tenenbaum, huh, kid? She's a regular Mother Goose. All right, fun's fun, kid. But now, go get stepped on by a big daddy. Would you kindly? Huh? I says, would you kindly go get stepped on by a big daddy? Seems like Mother Goose has been playing around in your egg salad. If you won't dance to that tune, I got others. Code Yellow. I just told your brain to tell your heart to stop beating. Not right off the bat, mind you. The heart's a stubborn muscle, but it ain't that stubborn.
Now go get stepped on by a big daddy. Would you kindly?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I said. And then he's like, okay. I see she's been messing around in your head.
See, and this is where they gameplay you, because you get slightly affected by this. I think it's at this stage you lose some of your health or something.
Yeah, he says I've still got some tricks, and he says
yellow
Operation
something, yellow
something,
yeah.
And then he's like, I just told your heart to stop beating.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't work straight away. It doesn't work straight away because it's tough, but it'll stop eventually. And you're like, oh damn, better go get healed.
Yeah. So then, your health gets slightly reduced. Is this also the no, not yet. But eventually you get to a point where you drink something, I think
you take the first batch of the cure
it's
or whatever.
Man, your plasmids are messed up. You can only use these random ones.
It randomly changes, and you can only use that one for a set period, and then it changes to a random one. And it's from all the ones that you have, not just the ones you've got on your slots.
So you're out of luck if you get, Hypnotized Big Daddy.
Yeah, when you got Hypnotized Big Daddy and you find a bunch of splices, you're like, well, that sucks.
Yeah. But does anything happen?
This is where, it's just okay, Fontaine's the bad guy. Let's waste a bunch of time while we try and get him. There's still a third of the game to go.
That's the thing. Nothing. This is what I meant with the whole roller coaster. Once you get that twist, the rest is just gradual until the end.
On the first playthrough, that carries you.
You're
on the big high of oh my god, this is so good.
Yeah.
And that carries you to the end.
Yeah.
As you're better get this.
But once you know the twist, you're we're just shooting people doing busy work. Yeah.
So you run to one place and you the cures. I think the cure. You go to her house and he's like, "Ha lol." Of course you're gonna go to her house. We already took the cure from there. It's fine. Yeah. So you have to run somewhere else. And you get random plasmids. As I said, you have to go to Apollo Square at some point when that's where the Sandico and side mission is.
Not worth talking about.
Not worth talking about. Nothing much happens, as my thing quotes. Eventually, you get cured. You go to another place, Point Prometheus, and for some reason, you have to dress up as a big daddy.
Oh yeah, you have to escort.
You have to escort a little sister.
There's an escort mission right before the end.
But it's something she tells you the little sister won't let you through the door unless she thinks you're a big daddy, And I'm like, yeah, but you control them, right? Not control, but you
like,
usually tell them what to do. Like, they would just save me from that other thing and brought me to their house. So why can't you just tell them to open the door?
Couldn't I rescue the little sister and then be like, look,
can you let me through this door, please?
Just go through.
Yeah, no, but you have to get like the whole suit, so you get boots and a helmet and all this stuff, and so you're like a big daddy, and I think you do get tougher, like you get more health,
probably.
I'd assume because you've got armor on.
Yeah.
And then you have to escort a little sister through like a whole thing where she's a creepy little sister, so she's like, stopping to harvest the atom.
The people, Mr. Bubbles, or whatever. It's like,
I
gross.
see angels.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like, kind of weird.
Yeah, little sisters just generally creepy most of the time. Man, Mr. Bubbles is the thing for the big daddies.
Yeah, Mr. B.
Mr. B. Yeah.
But
no, Mr. Bubbles! Wow. Every time you kill one.
But then, like, does anything notable?
That's basically the whole thing.
You escort the
little sister, and then that's right at the end. Like, she's literally like, all right, we're finished escorting. There's a whole bunch of vending machines. You're like, okay, it's time. Yeah. And the boss fight, it's not very good.
No.
So there's 4 stages. The first stage is literally just walk up to him and be like, haha, lol. And you, like, extract his atom.
You're taking his atom out with a syringe.
I guess, does she give you one?
I don't know. But they're the same sort of syringes the little sisters have been using to
get atom out
of everyone else. Yeah.
So the first one, you just walk up and get him. Then he starts, like, he's got, like, all the element power. He's like super Hulk, strong man with, like, blue skin.
It's like a bronzy sort of...
Yeah, I think he changes depending on what element he's
using. You might be right.
So he has all the elements and, like, he's, big muscle man.
You just shoot him a bunch and then he's like, whew, I need to recharge my atom.
So he goes back, and of course at that moment, that's when you take the atom off him.
You take it. And then you do that a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then...
4 total, and then
ending cutscene.
That's it. And then there's 3 endings depending on what you do.
I've only ever seen the best ending.
Yeah, no, I've only. So the good ending is I think you can. I don't know if it's like it's percentage wise. I think it's like if you kill more than 2, you get the bad ending. If you don't kill any, obviously, I think you have to not kill any and also save a reasonable proportion to get the good ending. So the good ending is like.
Little sisters, they all rock up. They're like, "Ooh, let's go!" Woo! And then they all jump on him and just start stabbing the hell out of him and draining his atom and just murdering him. You're like, "Wow, good on you!" And then fade to black.
I had you built. I sent you topside. I called you back, showed you what you was capable of. Even that life you thought you had, that was something I dreamed up and had tattooed inside your head. Now, if you don't call that family, I know what is. And now,
They offered you this city. And you refused it. And what did you do instead? What I've come to expect of you. You saved them. You gave them the one thing that was stolen from them. A chance. A chance to learn. To find love. To live. And in the end, what was your reward? You never said. But I think I know. A family.
And it was like, wow, you saved them. You took them to the surface and you found a family.
Yeah, so you like go up and you like adopt all of these little
Yep.
sisters, and they all like grow up and get married.
But not all of them, because there's 21.
Yeah, there's only like 5 that
But
they
you
show,
just
but-
like rescue 5.
Yeah,
or something.
and so you like live with them and they're like your family and all that.
And then you get old and die, and wow,
Yeah.
you had a family. Good on you.
And then, yeah, the bad ending is like...
They offered you everything, yes? And in return, you gave them what you always did. Brutality. You took what you wanted. All the atom, all the power. And Rapture trembled. But in the end, even Rapture was not enough for you. Your father was terrified that the world would try to steal the secrets of his city. For you now have stolen the terrible secrets of the world.
You know, it's like shows you being aggressive.
Oh,
to
that's
the
right. I've
sisters.
vaguely seen this, yeah.
And then, like, there's like some submarine comes along or something, and then you like burst out of the water and start murdering them. So the idea is like you are like the new Fontaine road rage guy,
Yeah.
and you just start murdering people. So, and then the really bad ending is just the bad ending again, but Tenenbaum's more aggressive when she describes it to you.
Oh.
They offered you everything, yes. And in return, you gave them what I have come to expect of you. Brutality. You took what you wanted. All the atom, all the power. And the Rapture trembled. But in the end, even the Rapture was not enough for you. Your father was terrified the world would try to steal the secrets of his city. But not you, for now you have stolen the terrible secrets of the world.
It's
the same
you're
visuals.
A son of a bitch.
Like, I
You're
think, so the
what?
3 quotes are like, at the first it's like, she's like, they gave themselves to you or something and you showed them kindness.
Yeah.
And then the other one's like, and then you showed them like, I can't remember the word, but you would have just heard it because it would have played while we were talking about this. And then the very last one, there's an even more aggressive word.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
There's no fanfare, it's just on.
Yeah, it does end very abruptly once you get, because you don't feel like it's going to be a 20-minute escort mission just before the end, and so you sort of get there.
But then
and you're like,
it's like, yeah, there's no wrap up or anything.
No,
You're just like, okay, hey, you went to the surface. Like, what happened to Rapture? What's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
But I think you go back. BioShock 2 is set after. Yeah, it's set after BioShock 1, so you go back. But
Well, you don't.
No,
It's just a big daddy.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah,
You live your life.
yes. So yeah, there you go.
That's the story.
That's the story. Again, like big build to the middle, and then sort of a falling off as you just sort of clean up that last boss. But
it's good.
It's a good
though.
twist. Yeah, it's a good, the twist. As I said, the twist carries it on that
The
first
twist,
playthrough to
the
the
twist
end.
absolutely is like. I don't want to say that's why you play the game, but like, God, that's like.
Well, that sort
that's
of
it.
that building of the story, is what the heart of the game, like the subtle build to the twist. Because it all makes sense, especially if you're listening to audio logs the whole way. You learn more and more about it.
Absolutely. I'm just glad we didn't review BioShock Infinite, because you should play it. You really should play it. It gets messy story-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I know I need to play 2 first, but like, it just, the whole thing about BioShock Infinite is like, it's just completely unrelated to.
It is related.
It seems completely unrelated.
which is what makes it so messy.
You're just freaking zip lining and everything. It's like, what does that have to do with
Because
this?
eventually it's like you go to Rapture and it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
alternate dimensions. And then wow, there's a lighthouse in every dimension.
What?
Whoa. You always end up... Whoa.
I almost want to, like... I'm quite happy where I am right now, I think.
Infinite's fantastic.
Seems like a lot of mental work.
Yeah.
So...
Give us a fourth BioShock.
Well, there's a rumour that they're going to make another one soon, but not,
I think there's been a
not
rumour
irrational.
for years now.
I heard something a couple of months ago, or maybe a month ago, about something potentially in production, but they... Obviously, it's not going to be him because he's Ken Levine because he's doing this ghost story stuff. So it'd be a new studio. It'd be a BioShock 2 version of BioShock 4, probably. I mean, I think they know that BioShock 2 wasn't as good. So, I mean, the biggest failing of BioShock 2 to me is that you're a Big Daddy. You're like the superpower. Like the whole thing of the first one was like you're this little...
I could not tell you like anything about BioShock 2 story.
The whole thing about this first one is you're this little weak guy and you've got this massive scuba guy and you've got to like use all your powers to try and take him down.
I know there's a big sister in BioShock 2.
Oh god.
And I think at the end things are about to blow up and that's all I could tell you. You go outside at some point into the water. That's all I got. I don't... Maybe I should like look at a walkthrough or something because God, I don't remember it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll do it one day.
Yeah.
So all we have left to do is ratings. So, look, I mean, we were down on some parts of this, but I think the core is the gameplay is varied, and it's the best you can hope for. In
as a game, it's fine. As a story, it's
the story
good.
is amazing. World building, amazing.
There's a bit of drop off, but like I don't think it.
Yeah, it doesn't
affect it
that much. I mean, you've still got by that last point too. You've got so many crazy weapons and stuff. It's like it is just fun. Just
it's still fun.
Setting up people for crazy kills and stuff. As you work towards that end goal. I think you could have cut a little bit out of that ending after the twist.
There's a lot you can just
but it's
snip away.
I don't know. I feel like I get why they wanted to have a bit of a build to fighting Fontaine. Like you've sort of just peaked.
Yeah.
And you don't want to like immediately just be like, oh my god, there's a new boss. And then
if you have the twist and then it's like, oh, this guy's the bad guy.
All right, I better kill him and then just kill him. Like there's a bit of build to it to build him up because you've been building up for Ryan the whole time. But I think I got to give it 9 out of 10. That's my overall conclusion. I wanted to almost give it 9.5.
I would give it 19 out of 21 little sisters rescued.
Okay.
That's what I'd give it. Which 21. I think amounts to about a 90%.
Yeah, so, that'd be a bit over, wouldn't it? I don't know. Yes, it'd be a little bit over. Yeah, I think, I want to give it maybe a 9.5. I don't know if I do 0.5s. I don't have a system. I almost don't have a system. You definitely don't have a system. I almost want to give it 10, but it's like, I don't know if it's my, like... once I give it 10, it's like you give it 10. Then it's like you can't go up from there. So I've got my Metacritic reviews here. So it's got 96 out of 100 on Metacritic from 44 reviews.
Fair.
Out of those 14 written reviews, that doesn't include that were just ratings. 14 of those written ones are 100.
Yeah.
So I'll read one, which is from the place that I knew the most, which is Eurogamer.
Yeah.
The hours spent playing this masterpiece were the perfect encapsulation of why video games is such a favourite waste of time for so many of us. Thrilling, terrifying, moving, confusing, amusing, compelling, and very, very dark. BioShock isn't simply the sign of gaming realising its true cinematic potential, but one where a game straddles so many entertainment art forms so expertly that it's the best demonstration yet how flexible this medium can be. It's no longer just another shooter wrapped up in a pretty game engine, but a story that exists and unfolds inside the most convincing and elaborate and artistic game world ever conceived.
That's a
glowing review.
Damn good review.
That's a good review, and that's 100 out of 100, obviously.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Now, remember when I said about Shadow of the Colossus that like there was a period where people just gave things plus 20 for effort? I'm going to read you the lowest review.
Here we go.
So, this is from Game Critics. I don't know who they are, but... So, BioShock is not a revolutionary game, or even a particularly innovative one. By the time I reached the end, I felt as though I had played a rather standard and predictable first-person shooter. 80 out of 100.
Man, this game sucks. What an absolute piece of crap. 8 out of 10.
Middle of the road, 8 out of 10.
Oh well.
So that's 2007 game reviews for you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that could possibly do us.
Yeah. I mean, quickly on game reviews, like, how often do you see a AAA game that gets, like, anything below a 5, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think the scales are completely out of whack, but also, like, you do get some real crap games that deserve something below that.
I think, like...
So it absolutely comes down to, like, oh, you had some effort, here you go, have some bonus points, regardless.
Yeah, when you talk about AAAs, I think there's a level of production that's, like... You just reach a level of production immediately just from being big enough, and that's like that is worth a certain percentage that you basically can't not get.
That's the thing.
I mean, unless you literally just waste your time with all these resources, like if you just chill out and do nothing, like the fact if you actually try with the amount of resources you have as a AAA.
What's the last big game? No Man's Sky comes to mind. I feel like it got panned on release.
Yeah, it probably would have. Yeah,
but No Man's Sky review.
Yeah, unless you just completely undelivered. Was it even a AAA No Man's Sky? I don't know.
No, I guess it was more indie.
Yeah. But so I think that the problem with that was that they pitched a AAA amount of content and they didn't deliver it at all.
It got an 8
on release
from IGN, I think.
Was that on release or was that revised?
Oh, updated May 16th. What was their initial?
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's a base level of quality that you get when you're a AAA that like gives you that over the hill score.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's games for you.
I mean, it's just it's just weird that like, someone's going to sit there and go, yeah, I think it's pretty. It didn't excite me. It was pretty standard.
They released they released the game to date this. They released the gameplay for Halo Infinite last night. The game's already a 9 out of 10, at least, right? Like, nothing, just by putting it out there, it's a 9 out of 10. Like,
yeah.
That's games.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I haven't seen it yet, but yeah. I'm assuming. I mean,
it's pretty good.
AAA trailers at this point, they all look just crazy good.
Yeah. Everything that Xbox did in their game showcase, everything's good. Except there was like one game.
I'm excited, even though I still haven't seen it. But
I should watch it.
I'll watch it.
Anyway.
Alright, well that's about it. That's all we got
time
I feel
like
for
that was pretty good.
This episode.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely press record. That's a good start.
Thank God.
Just suddenly, for some reason, I had just some PTSD that I didn't press record on this.
Man.
We just talked for like an hour.
Right.
So yeah, right. That's it. So next fortnight, we're going to be.
We're not doing. We're not doing Fortnite.
No, we're not. No, we're not doing Fortnite. That was next Fortnite. That was what I was saying. In 2 weeks' time, we will be doing Gears of War 1, the original Gears of War, a game that it may baffle you to believe I have never finished.
Wait, what?
What? So, as we know, I'll tell this story again during Gears of War next fortnight, sorry.
Can you do 2-1-3?
No, I did 2. So as you know, we got the 2. We both got the same Xbox bundle with Halo Reach and Gears 2.
Yeah.
So I played 2, played 3. I played some of 1, and then I stopped. And then I played 4. And then I eventually one day played Judgment. And then I played 5. And I've never. I got like most. I think I was like Act 3 most of the way through, and I stopped. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I don't know how it ends. To be fair, I mean, so
I can't.
As someone who loves Gears of War, I've never finished Gears 1. So I think I'm going to play the remaster.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
have both.
I replayed them all.
It makes the most sense to play the remaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about that next week. I believe they're all on Game Pass because Gears of War first party studio. So if you want to get into that,
play it.
You can. So yeah, with that said, I've been Matthew.
And I've been Ben.
And this has been the Pass Play Podcast, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks' time.
Bye.